Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm still having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's wrong with my camera on StreamYard, but my camera works perfectly fine on everything else. But we're going to get through this tonight. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you need it. You can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modi J. Tonight we have a Tubi movie. Typically we do Tubi Tuesdays. We watch a Tubi movie. Well, it was brought to my attention by my #1 mod, Kendall. She said, Mo, they got a Nipsey Hussle documentary on here. Behind the Crime, the Nipsey Hussle Murder. Now, I'm going to stay on the small screen because there is a little delay, but can you give me a thumbs up if the audio is all right? Give me a thumbs up if the audio, thumbs down. If we can get the audio good, we'll be fine because we don't need to see me. We're going to be documentary. Now, before we get started, let me get a disclaimer. I'll be honest with you. You know, I don't be on here BSing. I won't say I wasn't a fan of Nipsey, but I didn't listen to Nipsey like that. Towards the end of his career, for some time passing, so you a super Nipsey's history. What I will say is in 16 or maybe it was 17, I did used to watch on YouTube. He's one of the first rappers that I heard talk about currency. He is talking about crypto. So as far as his music goes, I only know his current music. So I won't be able to give you anything from his original work, like when he first was coming up. I can't give you any of that information. So I apologize for that. But Nipsey, I think he was a couple of weeks or a couple of days older than me. Let me see, when was Nipsey's birthday? Nipsey Hussle's birthday. So Nipsey was born August 15th to 85. I was born August 22nd. So he was a couple of days older than me. Now, when it happened, just like you, I was like, damn, man, it's sad. So I don't want to, it won't be anything disrespectful. I won't be doing too many jokes or anything around here unless it's appropriate. But just a heads up, like I said, I'm not a Nipsey Hussle super fan. So if I mess up things, don't come at me with all of that. Hey, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna watch the documentary. We're gonna go over that. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Once we get into this, we're gonna see, because I do have another channel called The Mo You Know. I am streaming on there also because this is more of a documentary type and it's dealing with a murder. But if this turns out, I'll probably continue to do them over on my main channel if it's something to this magnitude. Would you guys be all right with that? I know we do Power and all the TV shows, but if it's something like this, where it's actually a full documentary that we can watch, I'm probably going to do it on both channels and then keep all the murder and crime just on The Mo You Know. But if it's a documentary, I'm probably going to do it on both channels. Of course, it's over on this channel. I'm going to go ahead. Audio's a little skippy at times. See, I don't know what happened. It just been the last 2 days. I turned the computer off. I restarted it. I'll figure it out. But as long as the audio for the show is good, we should be all right. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna go ahead and jump into it. This documentary is on Tubi, so I was surprised. Tubi, Nipsey. There may be times that I might have to mute it just because of the audio. But
we need a small business
to go straight through the movie. Well, not the movie, but the documentary. Now it's saying Behind the Crime, the Nipsey Hussle murder. 2023, an hour runtime, so roughly about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It depends. I'll probably wait to the end to start researching people's names. We'll get through the documentary and then we'll double back and we'll look up names. We'll see what Eric Holder is doing. I know they whooped his ass several times. Good for them. So it's a documentary / music. As told by the people involved and using real footage from the tragic event, we take a deep dive into the murder trial, story and case of rap icon, street legend, Nipsey Hussle. So we're going to run through this. If there's some audio being played, then of course I'll mute it and I'll just fill you in on what's going on. But give me a thumbs up, thumbs down when this audio starts so we can see if it's on.
Parking lot. He came running back to the car, said, "You better drive or I'll slap you."
The first thing I thought was the enemy pulled up.
Okay, sir, just hang on, all right?
How could you at least not suspect that he did it?
He didn't really want to talk to him.
His most popular quote was, "I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing."
This was not going to be a case of who done it. It was going to be a case of why was it done.
He's charged with first degree, premeditated, deliberate murder.
Nipsey Hussle, his objective was to get out of the streets and to become the thought leader, the business leader, the creative leader.
And that was all lost due to the senseless act of violence.
And it's unfortunate that this happened. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's the street. We know that he was out of it. I don't know if he was all the way out of the street, but he was. March 31st, 2019.
I need an ambulance. I need an ambulance.
Oh, Department of Business.
Is this a big?
What's the emergency?
Oh my God.
I remember Sunday afternoon, I was at home and I could hear helicopters hovering nearby, which is not uncommon for South LA, but there were a lot of them. And I just thought, wow, something big must have just happened over in that area.
I was actually flying a drone, capturing footage over Los Angeles when my phone started going off. I got a couple texts saying he's shot, but they rushed him to the hospital. He might make it.
I just remember waking up to like a bunch of calls in my phone, missed calls and text messages.
This was an on-call weekend for myself and my partner, waiting on homicides to occur. I got a call sometime after 3:30.
Oh my God! Oh no, they didn't get Nipsey Hussle, man! Oh my God, they didn't get Nipsey Hussle. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my goodness!
Damn.
I know the neighborhood. I know the community. I grew up around the corner, basically. So it's very devastating.
It was just a big sense of loss that somebody died. A person who would have, I believe, given a lot of the hope, come out of the hopeless behaviors that we see, used as misrepresentation of the whole Black race, in particular Black LA.
Nipsey was somebody that was bringing intellect, bringing business acumen, and bringing hope and opportunity to people. And then
And the whole city was literally out there when this happened.
Whose real name is Ermias Ascadon.
Hi.
I love you.
Grew up in the South Central Los Angeles area.
Nipsey, he had a African-American mom, but he had a father that was from Eritrea.
He saw his dad as a revolutionary, standing up for some of the right things in his country.
He grew up in the Crenshaw district, the heart of the Black community in Los Angeles.
It's part of South Central LA. It's the area in terms of crime. 77th Division, maybe one of the biggest parts of.
Now I'm going to say I'm not going to be stopping this a lot because it's an actual documentary, and I actually want to know what was going on with everyone that was actually there. So we're probably going to run through this in about an hour, maybe about an hour and 15. But I'm going to try not to stop it as much, just so we can get the full effect of the actual documentary, and then we can go back and talk on it and touch up on certain parts of it.
Well, the gangs go back to at least the 70s. It's always been a problem.
They commit crimes within their defined territory. Sometimes they fight over territory, which lead to a lot of murders and murder.
The drugs came in, the crises, that conflict was targeted for the drug use and also the violence. And we bought into it.
I knew Nipsey Hussle before he was Nipsey Hussle. Well, the first time he actually walked up to me directly to face me, he opened his jacket and said, "Bam!" And he had all these discs hanging inside.
He was out there hustling for real.
And he told me that he had, the Adobe Photoshop and Fruity Loops, because he knew I was working on photos and I was doing some music.
What up, Dad? Sure. And you're a minor and drinking alcohol, man.
Yeah, man, I'm on
trying to get me in trouble here, buddy?
Nah, Dex did not endorse minor consumption of alcohol.
His presentation and everything, it was funny, it was intelligent, it was everything.
He was an articulate young man, though.
I had a collective to create music and multimedia stuff called the Be Butter Vision. I invited Nipsey to come over to sort of formally get into Butter Vision. Of course, Nipsey's vision was hip hop.
This is Nipsey. He working on his shit right now with his Butter Vision.
He wanted to hang out and do music.
Well, you think if you got the timing down first,
Right.
I agreed to go over to where they would create. I truly fell in love with what I saw, the chemistry, the camaraderie, the respect they had for each other, and most of all, the talent. We had, I guess you would call it a bit of a feel-out session. He was doing some freestyles, and the amount of his mouth was truly prolific.
The rap started giving voice to the voiceless in a very striking way that people weren't used to hearing, because it was profane, because it was in your face, because it was pro-Black in ways that we hadn't heard so demonstratively in music.
Nipsey also had a kinship to gang culture. Nipsey was a real sixth Crip.
He got jumped in as a teenager. Getting jumped in literally means getting jumped or beat up for a period of, it could be 60 seconds, it could be 90 seconds. It's symbolic.
Now, I wasn't in no gang, so I don't know nothing about getting jumped in, but I've been jumped before. And let me tell you, 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that's a long ass time when you're getting your ass whooped. If we just being honest, that's a long time to be getting your ass whooped. And to voluntarily do 60 seconds, it's crazy, man. Well, I mean, that's the environment that they were in. But getting jumped in, that's wild to me, man. If I'm fighting because I got to, not because I want to. You know what I mean? But Nipsey did that. He was one of the real ones.
Symbolic for showing that you have strength, showing that you're not intimidated, showing that you're not scared or a punk, and that you'll be willing to fight to assist when need be.
South LA, especially in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, when Nip was jumped into the gang, there's a survival element to it.
You're not gonna grow up in that area without having fights, without having to defend yourself, without having to stand for yourself. And he did all of that. There were some people that were critical of his style. They would say that he was perpetuating gang stereotypes and promoting violence through the music. You know, I understand that argument, but a lot of these kids that grow up in Los Angeles, they're just rapping about what they've experienced.
From the beginning of rap, authenticity has been paramount. When someone like Nipsey Hussle comes around that's really from the streets, that really has this background that's certified by a lot of the OGs in the LA area, that is not lost on the fans.
The Rolling 60s is the gang that I'm from. So he was very, very upfront about his gang affiliation in his early music. The Rolling 60s Crips are one of the biggest Crip gangs in Los Angeles. They formed over in the Crenshaw district area around 1974, 75.
They're into getting money by any means that they can. If that's drug sales, burglaries, music.
Not only are the Bloods and the Crips fighting each other, but there's Crip on Crip violence.
So there's an old saying that you're not a 60 until you've killed the 60.
Within hoods, internal violence.
So they said you're not I don't know if this is true. They just said you're not a 60 until you kill the 60. Now, just relating that to shows that we watch, that's one reason why Kanan said you're not a killer until you kill someone you love. Now, the 60s, I assume when they in these gangs, they supposed to be treating everybody like family, like brothers. But I guess if you got to kill a 60, then that means there's some serious stuff behind it. So that means they crossed you, and then you got to do what you got to do. Now, in Kansas City, we have Bloods and Crips, but the way Kansas City is set up, it really went by your street. So whatever that street was, you know, you had 51st, that was Fat Tone, RIP to Fat Tone. But you had 51st, you had 10th Street, you had 12th, you got some in the 40s, you got a couple in the 30s, we got some 20s. But it just really went by your streets. And if the street was cool with another street, then all right. So we knew, like, going down 71 is our highway that you can get from South KC up to North KC into the city. You knew, like, there were certain streets that you wouldn't get off of. We had Prospect and Truce, they go down there. But then all of these roads, they intersect with each other. So, I mean, we didn't have a huge gang scene like LA, but we still had a gang scene within our city. But it was more of your street. where you was from and not necessarily your color?
It's just due to like the constant dismantling of leadership, whether someone would call it leadership or not.
Nip was trying to balance that one foot in the streets, one foot in the music business. A lot of artists, as they're getting their careers off the ground, seem
What's up, Tamika?
to not know which way to go.
Nipsey was able to see firsthand how we were able to use iMovie and iPhoto and create a product that represented our own undisturbed culture and be able to sell it back to our own audience in our own neighborhoods.
So you had to reprogram the sound to the sequence?
We just felt that what we were doing had the potential to be revolutionary.
Yeah, Dexter Brown, man. I was a early supporter, not only of myself, but of my whole squad. You know, he basically opened his backyard for us, bought studio equipment, and gave us an outlet at a time when it was really important for us to have somewhere to go.
He went on this independent path, which eventually allowed him to own everything. You own all your music. You own all the masters.
We're doing it real big right now in LA on the independent promotion tip, trying to get up out there. You know what I mean? We just raising the bar. Probably one of the hottest young niggas out here on the West Coast in LA.
If you look at Nipsey Hussle, he had a lot of positive things going for him. He was very insightful.
He started to build a financial empire. In 2010, he started his own record label, All Money In, No Money Out. He started looking into creating and plucking talent, musical talent, out of his own community.
All money in means I got a hit. This all my money is in. I'm giving my everything to this album, to this relationship, to this community.
Rap is very much of the mindset that the artists, the communities for decades have been exploited. So Nipsey wanted to show people that, hey, I'm creating a new paradigm through which rap is going to operate.
When he reached the level of success, he contributed back to the community that he grew up in.
He opened Marathon Clothing in the same mini mall where he used to hang out as a kid when he was a gang member.
It was sort of like a full circle moment. I'm sure you're a young adult hustling CDs and trying to figure out how to make it in. And then a decade later, you're owning the whole corner.
Despite being in the streets for real, his goal and his objective was to get out of the streets and to become the thought leader, the business leader, the creative leader.
And that was all lost due to the senseless act of violence.
Shout out to my dad. I know you're probably watching right now. Happy birthday. My dad turned 73 today. One thing I was telling him and my mother, I appreciate everything they did for us. They thought I was joking around, but they really saved me and my brother's life. Once they moved to the suburbs my junior year, that was a good decision because I really don't know where I would have been in life if I would have continued to go to my original high school. I ain't gonna lie to you. I probably would have been a piece of shit if I would have graduated from my school. I wouldn't have had no drive, none of that. So I appreciate them. Happy birthday to my dad. You know, he actually listens to Nipsey Hussle. He don't know a lot of songs, but he knows some Nipsey songs. That's kind of crazy. I just thought of that. Like, my dad knows probably a couple more songs than I do, to be honest with you.
I believe that Sunday he was shot was a good example where everything could be going great, and then at any given time, it could erupt into total chaos.
The disorder of gang culture, it gets all topsy-turvy. Anybody feels like they can do anything, and things like what happened with Nipsey happened.
On the day that Nipsey was killed, there were 11 or 12 shots in total that were fired that afternoon.
Nipsey Hussle was lying on the ground. His brother showed up and started attempting to render aid.
Hey, back up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
him and his brother were quite the duo. Black Sam was probably one of the architects behind the success of Nipsey Hussle.
He got hit. He got hit in the back.
Oh my goodness.
Just hang on, right? The ambulance is already here, right?
Another victim, Kerry Latham, was lying on the ground. Those two were transported to the hospital. The third victim, Shermai Villanueva, had a more of a graze wound.
All brothers on deck.
Well, I go straight to the crime scene, and you want everybody moved out so that they don't trample over evidence. There was a lot of evidence, shell casings on the ground.
Nipsey Hussle was pronounced dead at 3:55, but in all likelihood, he was gone at some point while he was still in that parking lot.
Did you guys see what happened? Did you?
I encourage everybody to learn how to administer CPR the correct way. I mean, I know his brother's on here. He's on the phone. He's trying to make calls. He's trying to look out for his brother. But if you want to do this correctly, you got to use two hands and you got to apply enough force. I know in the moment, you got to deal with everything that's going on, but you can't be distracted. You got to keep that going. You got to keep a steady pace, two hands, and don't worry about if you crack a rib. You should be doing it hard enough that you could break a rib. You're going to have to administer breaths also to keep the lungs going, but you're going to definitely need two hands for it. And I'm not saying that Black Sam is wrong or anything. I'm just saying, like, it's good to be able to know CPR and be able to administer it, but you can't be on the phone. Whenever this happens, you always let someone else call the phone. I mean, call whoever needs to call. Boom, scene is safe. You get there. Once you get there, you start administering CPR. You have someone else go get a defibrillator if possible. You have someone else call 911. You have to be there because you got to do this continuously until the paramedics show up. But you got to apply that pressure. Now, if you can, of course, you want to treat the wounds. But in this situation, it was probably a lot of wounds, so he probably couldn't. You probably only need one more person to help out. Don't have 3 or 4 people around. You want to clear it out so there is space that you can actually get in here and help out. Damn, boy. See, to me, all of this, y'all know how I get when it's siblings, because me and my brothers are close. So for me seeing this, it's like I didn't know that his brother was actually there doing. I've never knew that. I always knew that he got shot and the paramedics came and got him. I didn't know that his brother was actually trying to help. Damn.
Did you guys see what happened?
Oh no, I didn't see what happened.
Okay.
The first responders got initial statements from witnesses and pointed out pieces of evidence such as expended cartridge casings, clothing.
The eye doesn't lie. And the eye that I'm talking about are cameras. Cameras are surpassing fingerprints, DNA, cell phone technology as the leading assist in the prosecution of crimes in our country. In this case, we were lucky because that parking lot was awash in video.
Here's our suspect walking back, gray pants. Once he gets to about here, you're going to observe the shooting. He's actually shooting with 2 handguns, and now you see our victim fall. That's Nipsey Hussle. There's a second victim there. That's down. The third victim was standing next to this car. He ran out of the parking lot along with some witnesses. So the shooting is still going on here, and you're going to see a kick. He kicked Nipsey Hussle in the head. He ran back the same path as the restaurant, back through the alley into his vehicle.
I immediately went.
Star Child.
Damn, boy. That. I mean, you never want to see nobody go, man. It's messed up. This is streets. Nipsey was away from all of it, but that's one thing about the streets, man. The streets are always gonna be there. I know it sounds cliche, and I know Boosie always say it, but you gotta get out your hometown, man. Damn. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of Nipsey. I didn't listen to Nipsey's music. I mean, I knew on his victory lap, I knew his songs all my life. I've been trying to know my life. Like, fight. Fight. Yeah, I know all of that. I know the new stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't listen to it like this. When this happened, doing it to his brother was a couple of days older than me. Damn. And him and his brother are kind of similar. Like, not saying that my brother got Nipsey Hussle rap. Back when we used to rap, my brother was always the star. I would handle the business aspect of
Literally hundreds, if not thousands of people on all four corners.
It was quite moving to be there. And one of the things that caught my eye was a bright red baseball cap that was sitting on top of a sea of blue and white candles. Blue and white are the colors of the Rolling 60s. Red is the symbol of the neighboring Black P. Stones gang. That said a lot about how Nipsey Hussle was respected and loved beyond the politics of the gang world.
Tempers were flaring. People tend to get mad and they start thinking retaliation.
Some of them turned on each other and fought each other. So it was really an uncontrollable situation.
And then it got to the point where all chaos broke out.
My immediate supervisor told me I needed to be in the office at 4:30 a.m. This was going to be a big case. I met with the detectives who were handling the case. South LA, unfortunately, is a gang-infested community. A lot of innocent victims are often caught in the crossfire of these warring organizations.
Initially, I thought that it was a rival type gang shooting.
Any gang, especially a gang as large as the Rolling Crips, it is not true that everyone in the gang knows each other and they're all friends. Rivalries start within the gangs.
When Nipsey Hussle and his brother opened the store, the parking lot itself would be full of people from the Rolling 60s or associated with the Rolling 60s. So other gang members, they're aware of this, and it gives them an opportunity to come by and do drive-by shootings.
When I first heard that Nipsey Hussle was killed, the first thing I thought was, dang, a gang shooting. The enemy pulled up on Nip.
Same thing I was thinking.
We shared the stills that we pulled from the video with the gang officers and patrol officers. The concern was that some of the members of the Rolling 60s gang may track down the suspect and kill him.
He was obviously dangerous. So there were a couple of days of high anticipation. Was this person going to flee the jurisdiction? Would the streets get to him before the police?
Hit that like button for me, please. Hit that like button.
Some of the benefits of being assigned to the Major Crimes Division is you're handling the most consequential cases of our day. This results in people sending in tips.
Emails, calls, you name it. There were tips that said the police killed him. There was a conspiracy theory that the leader of the Rolling 60s set this up and had him killed. It was ridiculous.
Throughout the day, there were media reports that LAPD was interested in finding a certain suspect vehicle.
Witnesses also helped to better describe the vehicle that was used and a description of the person that was driving the vehicle.
Now, you always hear a lot of people saying, when you see other YouTubers putting together cases and solving cases and finding out who the victims are and who the witnesses are and who the potential suspect is. Me personally, I'm not into none of the nonsense no more. So for me, if someone is solving the crime and helping the police out, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna go out there and do that. But if there are people that can figure this stuff out and connect the dots and give up information, hey man, do that. Do that. Because at the end of the day, man, you got to protect yourself. And if they can do something this reckless, then there's no telling what they would do to you. So for me personally, all jokes aside, I know we get on here, we talk about power and stuff. I play around and the the shit's pointless, man. Like all that he did this for, the shit's senseless, man. That's why I don't go out and do nothing, man, because I don't trust the people around. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're gonna do. So when this happened, I'm like, damn, bro, that's fucked up. And knowing that this nigga did it because he was weak, his girl wanted a picture. Nigga said you got some paperwork out there. Nigga, you tell him, man. What the fuck you gonna come over here and do some silly shit for? Now, they didn't say Nip said that he was telling. They just said that there's some paperwork. You need to get that straight, according to Cowboy. That's Nipsey's boy that actually took the stand. I mean, well, hopefully they'll get to it here and we'll see that. But yeah, man, to me, it's just, man, it ain't worth your life, man. That's why I don't be out doing nothing. I'll get on here, I'll talk to y'all for hours. But I ain't about to be out. I don't trust these niggas, man. I was at the grocery store today with my dad. Man, let me tell you, this shit's changed since I grew up out here, man. I don't know none of these new faces. And everybody look like a suspect in that motherfucker, for real, for real.
The driver's mother actually saw it on the news, and her mother told her, you need to go to the police station. On April 2nd, Brianita Nicholson came in for questioning.
Obviously, we were very interested in Brianita as a potential suspect. We learned that she lived in Los Angeles for a while. She worked part-time as a Lyft driver while working full-time as an assisted living nurse. She waived her right to have an attorney or to remain silent, and she spoke to 2 detectives by herself for 5 hours. I wanted as much information as I could get about where she grew up and whether or not she had any friends who became gang members, to get a sense of who she was as a person, because she was a suspect.
We got into the investigation itself and started asking her specific questions. One of the witnesses did give us some suspect, Little Shitty, his real name was Eric Holder. She described Eric Holder, talked about him picking him up when she was driving for a Lyft, and she thought he was cool. And then they began hanging out.
Eric Holder and Nipsey Hussle grew up in the same neighborhood, and they knew each other. By age 14, Eric Holder got involved in the Rolling 60s.
In 2012, he had been convicted of carrying a loaded firearm, but that was about it.
He loved rapping on songs,
Nigga
released some
trash.
songs on the internet. He never really caught on.
The day of the murder, Brianita said that she received a call from Eric Holder and said, let's go and get something to eat. They got in the car and he told her to drive to LA.
Eric told her to pull into the strip mall where the Marathon store is, and she saw Nipsey Hussle and she got excited and said, oh my God, he's so fine. And she saw Eric walk over to where Nipsey was.
She overheard a conversation between Holder and Nipsey Hussle about snitching.
To tell from the tension from Nipsey, like he didn't really want to talk to him, because I guess the way he was just like, cuz, have you ever snitched on somebody? Cuz this, cuz that.
That's what Nipsey was saying?
That's what Eric was saying. He was kind of like a little aggressive.
Nipsey was trying to calm him down. She stood there for about 45 seconds, more or less, when Nipsey was alerted to the fact that she wanted a picture with him. But being the kind of guy that he was, he stopped the conversation, took a photo with her. That photo is seen here and became evidence in the trial.
Man, I don't know if I would keep that photo. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a creepy photo for her. Like, you brought the murderer. I know she didn't know and she didn't have anything to do with it, but damn.
trial. She immediately ran back to her car and posted the picture on Facebook, giving no indication that she knew anything bad was about to happen. In her mind, this was just a great day.
After he got his food, Eric told her to drive around the corner, and he walked back to the area of the parking lot. She couldn't see him based on her angle.
She heard shots. She thought he could have been getting shot at. And then he came running back to the car with 2 guns. He said, "You better drive or I'll slap you."
The 3 victims were shot inside of this parking lot. At the burger stand that was located here, there was surveillance video here we utilized. At the gas station, there was surveillance footage there that we utilized. There was cameras up and surveillance footage that we believe the Marathon clothing store had. We didn't ask for video, but they refused to allow police to come in. There was a search warrant written to get the DVR. Once we got the DVR, I believe the hard drive was removed from that DVR, so it did us no good.
That's part of the streets. That's part of the streets aspect. You can't cooperate with the police, man. So they got rid of the footage because they were going to handle it on their own, allegedly. But they got rid of the footage from the Marathon, which, not saying that they were doing anything illegal out there, which is good, though. I mean, on their part, because, if they were, they are gang members. So in the event that they had done something else, that hard drive would have everything on it. So, I mean, I can understand all of that. But, I mean, they sticking to the code, man. The streets, this is what happens, man. The streets.
This after the shooting, Brianita drove back toward Long Beach. She dropped Eric off at his cousin's house, presumably with the 2 guns, because she said she never saw the guns again. At about 8 o'clock or so, she got a phone call from Eric asking if he could stay at her place. They ended up at her mother's house.
You start to think, why would you help someone that just committed a murder if you weren't involved or if you didn't have knowledge?
And this is what I really struggled with. I said, come on, Brianita. You were at the mall. You heard gunshots. You saw him with guns. How could you at least not strongly suspect that he did it? And she maintained, I never saw him do anything violent before.
I asked to view her cell phone. The selfie that she took, she provided that to me without hesitation. We asked her, could we search her vehicle? There's nothing in that car that we would be able to use as evidence. I asked Brianita if she would allow us to search her residence, and she consented. There was no weapons there. There was no ammunition. We've probably interviewed her at least 2 to 3 more times. All of the interviews were consistent. So we figured, okay, we have to rule her out as a suspect.
In looking at the picture, she was so excited seeing the fan. She had no idea that any harm was going to come to him. And she just got caught up in this thing.
The investigators have to dig deeper and deeper to find what happened. Kerry Lathan was one of the people there in the parking lot that was shot alongside Nipsey Hussle. However, he survived. Police go to the hospital to ask him a few questions.
Kerry Lathan is an OG, original gangster, rolling 60s gang member. He committed a murder back in the 1990s, pretty gruesome killing. He was sentenced to 25 years to life for first-degree murder. He got paroled fairly early. According to Mr. Lathan, he got a care package from the Marathon store. He went to thank Nipsey for the gift. He said he got out of the car, saw Nipsey, went over to talk to him. He looked over and he saw Eric Holder pointing the gun in their direction. He felt the pain in his back. He felt himself go down. He could hear Nipsey saying to Holder, "You got me. You got me."
Eric Holder was so close to Nipsey Hussle during that shooting that if you look very closely, you see Nipsey try to grab the gun.
He was aware and responding to the shots up until Eric Holder kicked him in the head and ran off. That's really what impacted me.
When Nipsey Hussle is shot and killed, he's actually with this inner circle. One of them is Evan McKenzie, whose street name is Rampaw. Nipsey Hussle and Herman Cowboy Douglas are talking. And the idea of a snitch comes up.
Nipsey said that there was a rumor that Eric was snitching. We don't know where that came from. Nipsey himself was never specific.
When gang members said there's paperwork on you, they're typically referring to a police report. You would want to show that as a receipt that you didn't snitch.
In the communities that we come from, if someone makes mention that a person is a snitch, that person has to respond or react immediately.
Eric Holder was a fugitive. We offered some advice to detectives. One of the things we suggested is that search warrants be executed on some locations that hadn't been searched up to that point. We also suggested that they get a hold of his cell phone records to determine, if they could, where his cell phone was last used or where it is currently being used.
I was concerned that he may flee, or we just may not be able to track him down because he goes into hiding, or some of the members of the Rolling 60s gang may track him down and kill him in a retaliatory type murder.
Get a hold of him. Crimes committed in hell will not have angel witnesses.
One way to avoid expensive car repairs.
Damn, boy. The whole thing is messed up. She ain't know nothing was going on, but she seen him run up with two guns. As soon as he came around the corner with two guns, he got in my car. Oh, skirt. They at my house. And then they went to her mama house, man. Hell no. The whole, like, there's nothing you can even say besides the whole situation is fucked up. And he just wasted 2 lives. One's dead and one's in jail, man. For no reason. All he was doing was helping out the community. He wasn't calling you no snitch. They said it was just paperwork out there, man. If there ain't none, then prove it. Really that simple.
Ultimately, what happens is we got a tip. Eric Holder was directed by family to go to a mental health facility located in Bellflower, California.
Apparently, he had walked into the facility and hung around in the back parking lot. Some of the people who recognized him called 911, and he was arrested there without incident.
The sheriffs turned him over to LAPD. The only thing that he provided us was height, weight, birth date, name, address.
When they arrested Eric Holder, that was it for me. The arrest and conviction of the person alleged to have done it does not bring Nipsey back.
So the mystery of who shot and killed Nipsey Hussle is eventually answered. Eric Holder Jr. But one question remains. Why? What would lead Holder?
I knew this brother was familiar, so he's on Law and Crime. We just seen him Tuesday or Monday. I knew he looked familiar. All right, cool. At least they got some trusted individuals on here. We watch him on Law and Crime.
To shoot and kill Nipsey Hussle.
Given this dynamic between the two of them, growing up in this neighborhood, being members of the same gang, both being rappers, one being incredibly successful, jealousy and resentment will likely be there.
Nipsey created every avenue that he got to travel down, but it still doesn't matter. There are other people who feel like that should be my spot.
We charged Eric Holder with 1 count of murder, 2 counts of premeditated attempted murder, and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, and being a felon in possession of a firearm based on his prior felony conviction.
He was in protective custody. It was a concern that Holder was going to be heard in jail and may not make it out.
I knew we loved Nipsey here in Los Angeles, but living here for so many years, not really understanding the impact he had all around the world. And I saw it that day. The funeral that they had for Nipsey Hussle was probably one of the largest funerals in Los Angeles history. There was a caravan that took Nipsey's body all around Los Angeles. The entire streets were full of pedestrians. I've never seen an outpouring like that for a person in my entire life.
I kept asking people where are they from, and
Crazy,
some of
for
them
real.
told me Louisiana, Arkansas. They had come from everywhere to come be a part of that.
The A-list in the rap community mourned Nipsey Hussle publicly and privately. The respect that he had was immense.
Then they had his services in the Staples Center, and they had that place full to capacity. The Staples Center is at least 20,000.
It just showed that the love that people had for Nip, was basically limitless.
Nipsey was investing in the community instead of tearing it down and destroying it. It was no longer about Crips and Bloods. It was no longer about gang violence.
Who's agreed that it's not how it should go, that we should be disappearing the motherfuckers that are going to create some shit in our communities. We all got together, and maybe 30 different gangs, upwards to about like 500 to 600 people marched across the street to the Marathon store, and we honored him.
Let me see the peace sign up in there. Now that's for me.
We had that moment, however long it was gonna last.
Motherfucking hey.
Eric Holder is arrested. The police, they have their suspect, but there's still a few unanswered questions. So they go back and start investigating. People like Grandpa and other people who spoke to them, not speaking anymore.
The neighborhoods are plagued with gangs, and it was really hard for us to prosecute crimes because of the whole no snitch culture. The community members as well, they're afraid to tell us about crimes that are occurring because they feel as though they're going to be retaliated against. It makes it tremendously difficult to either file the case or, once we go to court, to convince a jury that this crime actually occurred.
I remember walking into court on the day of the arraignment and seeing Chris Darden standing on the defense side of the table.
Christopher.
This is the prosecutor that fumbled in the OJ trial. Him and the white lady.
Darden was the prosecutor in the O.J. Simpson case, so a very big name to attach himself to Holder.
Chris was getting death threats, and for that reason, he stepped away from the case.
Holder doesn't have enough money to hire another attorney, so...
I will say this. Even though we don't like Eric Holder, I don't think people should have sent death threats to the attorney. The attorney's just doing his job. The attorney is just doing their job. I don't think they should have sent death threats to him. That, to me, was too far. He's doing his job. Just like anybody else, you got to go to work and get you a check. Yeah, I know some people are saying he shouldn't take this case. But that's their personal feelings. This man still has a job to do, regardless. All lawyers do are lie for you to get you off. So you can't knock the lawyers for doing their job. That's their job. But you can't send him a death threat. Like I understand you don't want him to do it because of the love that you have for Nipsey Hussle, but I don't think his family should have to suffer because the father is doing his job. He's a defense attorney, meaning I have to defend what cases come to me. That's what I do. If your family member is on for murder, you would want to get you a defense lawyer. So you see what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't like that part of it, because he got to put food on his table. I mean, yeah, it's somebody you don't like, but that's his job. That's his job. Whenever it's some criminal shit, It's always against somebody. There's always a victim of something, but you don't get mad at those other defenses. So for me, I didn't like that part. But I mean, I understand it, but it still ain't right though.
He is now being represented by a public defender.
Let's call the matter. This is the Eric Holder matter, VA 4.
Exactly. Like you said, Eric, he still had a public defender. Regardless of what's going on, there's going to be a lawyer that's going to take this case and they're going to be appointed. And if it's a black person, then what? You can't get mad at them. This is their job. This is what they do. This is what they went to school for. So me personally, the lawyers, the attorneys, they don't have anything to do with this. Your problem is with the man that's on trial, but don't be mad at the lawyers for doing their job. You're not mad at the judge for taking the case. If the judge says innocent, you're not going to be mad at the judge if that's what the jury decided. So me personally, that was my only thing that I'm seeing. Other than that, Tubi, you did a hell of a job with this. This is very entertaining, Tubi. If Tubi can do more documentaries, I definitely will be watching them. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to go ahead and finish this up real quick.
75908.
I cover a lot of important Los Angeles cases that are related to street gang research. In the Los Angeles gang world, testifying for the prosecution, cooperating with the prosecution as a gang member, as someone from a Los Angeles gang, is usually not accepted. Testifying can get you killed, can get you hurt, can get you beat. Cameras were not allowed into this trial. They did allow cameras for opening statements, closing statements, the verdict as well. There's gang issues in this case. They didn't want to dissuade any of the witnesses from coming forward.
Witnesses are always concerned about who's going to be in the courtroom, who's going to watch this. Is this going to be recorded in some way? Did the grand jury return their indictment? The first thing I do is call the investigating officers and tell them we got a firm trial date. It's time to gather our witnesses. Witnesses in cases like this that involve gang members are hard to nail down. Once you get them served with a subpoena, it's even harder to get them to actually show up. I was concerned about getting the witnesses into court because once the trial begins, we're locked in.
I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Aaron Jansen. I'm a public defender.
You said it's because he's black. This is a black public defender. You see what I'm saying? That was my only gripe. Like, man, they shouldn't have been sending death threats to that man.
And I represent Mr. Eric Holder Jr. You don't get to pick which case you take as a public defender, and it's your job to come up with the best defense that you can. Mr. Holder was facing most likely a life sentence. When I first met Mr. Eric Holder Jr., he had been in a cell almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He was very depressed. I was concerned that he may try to kill himself. I worked hard to get the sheriffs to treat him more humanely. He would be in the cell with weight shackles and chains. I had to move the court to stop bringing him into the courtroom with waist chains. It's prejudicial, it's dehumanizing. We knew going in that this was not going to be a case of whodunit. In this case, we have a video of a suspect, Eric Holder, shooting a beloved Grammy Award-winning artist in broad daylight on a Sunday. So it was going to be a case of why was it done? Once we got to the trial date and jury selection, we wanted to know what the jurors felt about Nipsey Hussle, if they saw any videos of the shooting. One of the ideas that we had was to use a questionnaire. We put this questionnaire together and gave it to each of the prospective jurors, and then we would select the jurors based on their answers.
The defense did not want to have any juror who was a fan of Nipsey Hussle or any juror from LA, especially South LA, who had any knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's involvement in the community. We had a very sympathetic victim, which was a challenge for the defense.
prosecution and defense during opening statements are trying to give a presentation of what they believe the evidence will show, but they're also attempting to plant seeds of doubt.
March 31st, 2019, at about 3:20 in the afternoon, there was an explosion of violence at the intersection of Sutton and Crenshaw. I tend to give longer opening statements to really just lay everything out. There was a conversation between Mr. Holder and Mr. Astrodome minutes before Mr. Holder shot and killed Mr. Astrodome.
You see, he was appointed this case. You don't select your cases. He knows that his defendant is guilty of that, but he's trying to get it lesser. You know what I'm saying? Lesser than the life sentence. So regardless, you can't send the attorneys death threats, man. They just doing their job. He knows his client is guilty, but he's trying to get a life sentence off the table. So he's still trying to defend it and come up with the best defense that he can. That's my only thing, man. That's my only thing, man. Everybody was mad at him. Yeah, he did the OJ case. They got mad at him for that. Oh, black man. He's doing his job, man. He's doing his job. They appointed him to the case. He had to do his job.
And you will hear from at least 2 different witnesses that conversation had something to do with snitching. No gang member wants to be considered a snitch. So, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will clearly show, leave you absolutely no doubt, that Mr. Holder killed Hermes Astrodome and injured Harry Linton and Shervine Williams. He fires at least 10, possibly 11 shots. You're going to hear and see evidence that he had plenty of opportunity to think about what he was going to do before he did it and did it. And I make that point because we have charged not just murder, but premeditated and deliberate murder.
The prosecution told the jury that Eric Holder was so enraged by being accused of being a snitch that he came back and shot Nipsey Hussle. And so that was his motive. Ironically, that's our defense too. Growing up, we all know, we learned at an early age in kindergarten and through our parents not to be a tattletale. Nobody likes a tattletale. In the adult world, we have people who are
killing each other over telling on each other. Killing each other over telling on each other, man. We're adults. Let's continue, man.
Tattletales are people who we call brown noses or kiss asses. At work, they'll go and tell the boss on other coworkers the rules. In the criminal world, so to speak. So the heat of passion in this case relates to snitching, an accusation by Nipsey Hussle that Mr. Eric Holder Jr. was a snitch. The evidence will show that without thinking, a mere 9 minutes or so later, Mr. Holder returned and shot Mr. Astrodome. He did not have time to cool off. He was so enraged and triggered by this emotional response that he acted without premeditating.
What was surprising, the defense attorney's opening statements, he admits that Eric Holder is the shooter.
But let's get to first things first. On March 31st, 2019, Eric Ronald Holder Jr. shot and killed.
I ain't gonna lie, listening to him, I'm trying to figure out where the hell is he going. This right here, I mean, guilty. This opening statement ain't selling me. So you're admitting that he did it, but he had 9 minutes before he did it, But that wasn't enough time to cool off, and he acted off of emotion. So he went and ordered food, acted off emotion, came back. Man, this ain't guilty.
Nipsey Hussle on Slauson and Crenshaw in front of the clothing store.
That was the first time we had an understanding of what the defense was going to be. They weren't denying his role, but they were trying to fight for a lesser charge, down to manslaughter rather than first degree.
Exactly.
I took extremely precise notes of all the testimony that was said. One of the things that Defense Attorney Jansen said that I thought was pretty powerful was that this is not just an average person calling another guy a snitch. This is Nipsey Hussle. So it's far more humiliating. And not only is he calling you a snitch, he's doing it in the presence of other people. And that's why Eric Holder responded the way he did.
While he's charged with first degree, premeditated, deliberate murder, in fact, it should be voluntary manslaughter because he's acting under heat of passion. He's also charged in counts 2 and counts 4 with first degree, premeditated, attempted murder against Mr. Latham and against his nephew, Mr. Villanueva. The evidence will show that Mr. Holder had no intent to harm or to kill either one of those individuals.
You're going to hear the evidence that he had plenty of opportunity to think about what he was going to do before he did it. From the time he got out of the car, to walk all the way back to that third wall and walk up
His
to
attorney
those
tried.
and start shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. Clearly, he had plenty of time.
Got what he deserved.
So that was pretty much what the whole trial was about. Was it enough time to cool down after being accused of snitching?
The defense has to get the jury to understand how bad snitching is. And luckily for them, Rampa is issued a subpoena saying that he has to come to court to testify, but he ignores it. The defense gets to sit back and say, see, this is how bad snitching is. It is so bad that the witnesses won't show up here because of the repercussions they could face. That's the fear my client, Eric Holder, had, and it makes for a very strong argument.
I had Carrie. I got the groceries.
You were just supposed to get diapers.
Who? That public defender? Public defender ain't getting no check off of this. He got his regular working salary. The public defender, it ain't no, hey, it's just another day in the office. You know what I mean? Just another day in the office. But now I see where his lawyer is going with it. I mean, you can't say he didn't try. I mean, we already knew what was going to happen. He knew that his client was guilty. That's why he didn't deny it. He's just trying to get a lesser sentence. So he tried something. Eric got what he deserved as far as from the legal justice side. If they do something in the streets wise, hey, that's on them. I ain't got nothing to do with that. He got what he deserved, at least from the law. But the lawyer tried. He knew he wasn't getting off, though.
Lathan on the stand. I said, at some point, did you see someone walk up and say to Nipsey, you're through? He didn't remember that. He didn't remember him pointing the gun. He was clearly playing a game of evasiveness, feigning memory loss, being inconsistent.
His probably most popular quote was, I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing.
Hey, sir, just hang on, all right?
Mr. Latham was not cooperative, even to the point of not wanting to identify himself on the video. That shows the
Got out of
extent
jail for murder.
of
He
the
ain't, man,
culture
hell.
of anti-snitching.
Even though he wasn't cooperating for the prosecution, the defense benefits from that because now what the defense can do is say, look, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there's people that were right there that don't even want to come testify. There's a level of fear that people surround murder.
So Cowboy was probably the second most important witness.
A lot was riding on Herman Douglas's testimony. he had been present when
He's the same
Mr.
gangster
Holder
who did Rolling
came
Sticks.
over and was talking with
That's why Michael.
Nipsey Hussle.
There's a saying amongst trial lawyers who prosecute gang crimes that crimes committed in hell will not have angels as witnesses. Cowboy was particularly concerning because his criminal history involved some repugnant crimes. There was a danger that jurors would then repudiate everything he had to say. Cowboy was in a unique position of being able to talk about what snitching is, how it's viewed, and then go through what he witnessed happen that day, which allowed us to show much of the video.
From what I remember, Cowboy was wearing a jean jacket with a Nipsey Hussle mural painted on the back. And he also had a Nipsey Hussle shirt underneath. And he walked into court and testified. He gave a lot of details of what happened in that conversation that Eric Holder and Nipsey Hussle had. Cowboy testified that when Eric Holder and Nipsey Hussle was having that conversation, that Nipsey Hussle brought up the topic of paperwork. Paperwork meaning that there's information regarding Eric Holder cooperating in a previous case. When you use the term paperwork, you're implying that snitching has occurred. Cowboy testified that it really wasn't a snitch conversation. In fact, Nipsey never said snitch. So he was trying to downplay the severity of that conversation while the defense was saying, wait up, this can get you killed, can get you hurt, can get you beat, can't it? So did Cowboy want to kind of protect Nipsey? During Cowboy's testimony, I would say that he was definitely downplaying the snitch/paperwork conversation because he just didn't want to make Nipsey look bad. He didn't want to make it look like the last thing that Nipsey did in his life before he was killed was question some low-life guy about paperwork.
Cowboy simply did the right thing. He was a witness and he provided this information. That's what every community member should do.
Cowboy actually said, some will consider what I'm doing right now as snitching.
Any nigga that say something about me snitching, there, you condoning what that nigga did. So, number one, everything is on videotape. So, ain't nothing I can say. Number one, that the videotape don't say. All right, so we're gonna start right there. Number two, if you do a foul crime and you do something stupid, you deserve what you get.
I think one of the most anticipated witnesses of this whole case was Bernita Nicholson. She's probably the most hated person because she's credited with bringing the guy to the Marathon store parking lot that ended up shooting and killing Nipsey. We learned from testimony from Bernita Nicholson that she heard the word snitch going back and forth during her maybe minute witnessing that conversation.
Bernita Nicholson was a positive witness for us. The testimony that we wanted to get out of Ms. Nicholson was, how was Eric behaving that day? Did he seem like he was angry, like he had planned to go there to shoot somebody? We wanted to humanize Mr. Holder to show the jury that this is not some random mad dog animal that just goes around shooting people, and here's why. Cowboy said that this was a calm conversation, that they were just talking. There were no raised voices, but Bernita said, in fact, that Eric was upset. She contradicted Cowboy.
I don't think she came across as very sympathetic, but I do think that people appreciate that she got caught up in a bad situation.
There was a day where the proceedings for that day were canceled, and we had no idea what happened.
Eric Holder was assaulted in a holding cell while awaiting trial.
His head was cut open, his eye was swollen, he was beaten up pretty badly and taken to the hospital. I got permission from the court to take photographs so that I could document if there was an appeal issue.
Those photographs somehow got released into the mainstream media during the trial. So I was concerned that a juror might see those photographs and it would affect their verdict.
I made them available so that the press could see what was happening to him. Do we have due process in this country or not? Or do
Hey, we don't condone what Eric Holder did. Let me reiterate that. And he got what he deserved. But this lawyer, this is a level A lawyer right here. If you got like a misdemeanor or something, like a small crime, this dude seemed like he can get you off some shit. He was swinging for the fences. He doing the right stuff. It's just we already knew he was guilty. He was just trying to get a lesser charge. So he at least tried. He put up a defense. But hey, man, he sounded like he actually pretty decent. I'm gonna have to look him up. Hopefully, he had at an actual law firm now, though. Stop being public defender. Cool, you need a job, man. He sound like he know what he doing back there. Pause.
do we just let some people get beat up or injured or raped or killed in jail because we don't like what they did?
Sitting in there.
It was disturbing to see how swollen his face was when he came into court. The defense wanted to continue with the trial, I think, to engender some sympathy for him or further make their point that if you snitch, look how brutal gangs can be.
Closing argument.
Murder trials are really not about how the victim lived. They're about how the victim died. But the evidence will often give you opportunities to talk about how the person lived and what the person meant to the people around them. I wanted the jurors to be in that mindset.
And as the defense's own gang expert put it, everybody loved him. He transcended what it meant to be a rolling 60. He transcended it, but he didn't reject it because he had that kind of loyalty in him. But he was no longer a gangbanger. He was a world-known recording artist and so much more. And it really is a shame that his life is so brutally
moving around in there, ain't they?
On his own property, in his own neighborhood,
like that,
by somebody from his own gang, somebody that he considered a friend, somebody that he had just shook hands with just minutes before.
The challenge really was in dealing with the distinction between murder and manslaughter and explaining to the jury why this was a malicious killing.
The motive for killing Nipsey Hussle had little or nothing to do with the conversation they had.
The judge
There's already a pre-existing jealousy or envy in Eric Holder toward Nipsey Hussle.
Objection. In my closing argument, I really wanted the jury to understand that Eric had no animosity towards Nipsey Hussle.
You got the loudest type on
Anti-snitching
air.
gang culture set him off into such a rage that he wasn't thinking clearly.
We told you that it was voluntary manslaughter and that he acted in a heat of passion. We told you what that heat of passion that he acted on. It consisted of being called publicly a snitch by someone as famous as Nipsey Hussle. And we believe that that is what the evidence showed.
Once you do your closing argument, it's just such a sense of relief because you've done all that you can do.
I felt pretty good after closing arguments were done, but I didn't know what the jurors would do.
July 6, 2022, the verdict.
Parties are present. All of our jurors are present. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
While the jury is deliberating, that part is always nerve-wracking. The worst thing that you fear is a quick verdict. He's on video, he shot these 3 people, guilty of everything.
The jury deliberated only 6 hours before reaching a verdict.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Eric Ronald Jr., guilty of the crime of first-degree murder of Ermias Ashgadon, in violation.
No one anticipated he was going to beat the murder. That would have been a Hail Mary of a win. But what was interesting was the jury found Eric Holder guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
And the fact that they found for attempted voluntary manslaughter for Mr. Latham and Mr. Villanueva tells me that they did consider the heat of passion argument.
He felt great. We believe that the verdict covered the full culpability of Eric Holder in this crime against his victims. Before the prosecution and the defense presented their sentencing requests, they had two victim impact statements. One was delivered by Cowboy.
The whole community relied on them and the team that we had down there. All of our stores are closed. The only thing that we have is that shopping center. That shopping center is closed down now. Tourists can come by there, can't even take pictures no more. Everything we built got tore down. And our man's action messed up a whole community. Our whole community is suffering to this day. We want mercy from this guy. Where was the mercy when he was kicking Nipsey on the ground? Where was that mercy at? I need to know why. I wish I could get that.
We did get a victim impact statement from Eric Holder's father about all the mental health issues that he dealt with as from childhood to adulthood, all the medicines that this guy was on, all the types of therapy that he received over the years. And I actually thought it was a pretty powerful statement, but I thought it would have been more powerful if the father was present in court.
I question myself every day, asking if I, as a father, did everything possible to help Eric Jr. stabilize his mental health condition. At the age of 19, Eric Jr. had his first mental health episode and was diagnosed with auditory schizophrenia.
I presented a psychiatric evaluation to the judge and to the district attorney to grant him some leniency.
It was no secret that he was taking medication and or being seen for mental issues, but it was found that that didn't impact his decision to commit murder.
In the end, the court imposed a sentence of 60 years to life. It was symbolic because of the rolling 60s, and he gave 60 years.
The sentencing of his assailant for basically life in prison would not bring Nipsey back. But it does represent justice served.
I believe that Eric Holder was entitled to have a chance at parole. He could have changed his life in prison.
One of the unfortunate things of this whole incident is that Nipsey leaves behind two children. Those two children are going to suffer immensely without having their father around.
Nipsey Hussle had a high visibility romance and from all accounts, a beautiful partnership with Lauren London and the Marathon movement, portended for him to really be set up as another major mogul in rap. His death was a sobering reminder that just because you're famous doesn't mean that something bad couldn't happen to you.
I'm tired of seeing wasted black potential. I wouldn't even say human because I don't see the shit that happened to niggas happening to nobody else. Nipsey led by showing people what they could grow into and what believing in ourselves could grant us. After he passed, I got very serious about my business, and I am the founder of a nonprofit organization, and it is a healing, violence prevention, and education workforce development hub for Black gang members. So that's what I'm trying to do, awaken the mind and spare the Black lives that we have left.
No one is able to respond to the masses the way that Nipsey was, and to provide that hope, that sense of, we're going to make it, we're going to be all right. Nipsey Hussle was a real model. He was not a role model. He was really in the community. I think the legacy of Nipsey Hussle is going to be his humanitarian work, the stuff that he was doing to help the community.
He had infinite potential because he was winning Grammys posthumously is a huge deal, because this was validation from the music industry that he had not been embraced by initially, and now you're part of the musical elite.
I do feel as though I have a lot to be grateful for. I was up close and personal with Nipsey in a way that I think few have. And I feel very privileged and honored to have enjoyed a piece of his timeline. And I would tell him that his plan worked, that all the things we had hoped for and that we imagined was possible became possible, and that his life's work would have a global impact and shift things in a way that few have.
Nipsey was an awakening. I feel almost as though his energy was stronger, you know, after life.
God is everything, money over bullshit.
Sky was the limit for Nip, and the marathon continues.
Damn, hey, that was good.
Right now in LA on the indie.
Hey, that was our first documentary on Tubi. Hey, that was good right there. I get out of 10 out of a 10. It was straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't drawn out. Everything led to the next point. All right, I like what they did with that, Tubi. That was a good one. Yeah, Ken, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna read the letter, and I'm gonna read that last letter that was on there. I'm gonna drop Torian the link. But yeah, I'm gonna go back. I just wanted to play it all the way through because it seemed like if it was an hour, I felt like it was gonna have, some speed to it. Pause. But all right, that was cool. That was cool, man. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That was Behind the Crime, the Nipsey Hussle murder. So we're about to go back and try to read, some of the letters and see what the hell was going on. I don't know about y'all, but hey, that public defender, I'm giving the public defender an 8 out of 10. If he would have got a mob, he would have got a dub. But I give him an 8 out of 10, man. He was doing his thing. He knew his client was guilty. Shit, he put together some stuff. He went out there and got the doctor note too. So, yeah, I give him an 8 out of 10 to be a public defender. Shit. He almost better than Cecil Walker out here, but he ain't nobody no Cecil. Ain't nobody no Cecil. What up, Tony?
What up, man? Listen, that was really good. I learned a lot, honestly, because like when it comes to something like that, the media didn't put out way too as much as this document. I learned more probably in this 1 hour than I did in the last couple of years since this happened.
Same. I didn't know his brother was there. I didn't know.
Yeah, I learned a lot, as far as the other woman that was involved, because the way that they put it out there in the media, they made it seem like she was so involved, but she really didn't know what was going on. So that's crazy. And then that last victim testimony, that one got me. I'm gonna admit, I had to hold it together because that hurt to hear that man say that. He was like, when you killed Nipsey, you took you took a piece of the neighborhood away. That, oh my God, that was intense to hear that. Because I remember when I was in LA last year for my birthday, they took me to Slauson Avenue, and I went right near where the Marathon store was at. And like he said, it's literally gated up. You cannot go onto that property. You can't even walk onto the parking lot. You can only stand outside the gate. I have the pictures up on my Instagram when I went there, and I took the picture right outside the Marathon store, and that where the parking lot is at, but on the outside of it where the gate is at. You cannot go on there. It's not it's all boarded up.
Damn. Whatever happened to that?
What happened to what?
Why is it all boarded up? They just lost it? Or?
They just closed it because it's too. I guess it's probably too hard. The only reason people went over there is because of Nipsey being over there, and that was he even though he didn't own the whole area, he owned that store, and a lot of people would go over there because it was seen as a tourist attraction, because you never know, you might have ran into him if he was there, because he frequented that spot often. You just had to be lucky that he was there that day or at that time. And I guess people they closed it up because it was too much of a bad memory there. After all, he did get killed there, so no one would want to go there to see that. So they ended up closing it up, and they probably lost business too. So the crazy part about it is that even though Nipsey and his brother, because they both owned the store, they only had that one store. It was other stores there. But see, what ended up happening is when he murdered him, they ended up having to close everything there. So everybody got pretty much lost their business because of that one thing. So that's why that testimony hit hard, because it's like, wow, not only did you take out one black-owned business, but you probably took out a whole lot. Like, that's a lot of money that neighborhood just lost from what you did. And then on top of that, I don't know, like I thought they was going to mention it in the documentary, but about I think like a month prior to this was, I think this was after the Grammys, because it was in February, because the Grammys was always in February. CBS had did a special with Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was getting ready to go into the tech field. Like, he was literally about to open up like a center for a lot of the youth in that area to get into tech. And all I've always been saying is that a lot of the money is in the STEM, in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Like, why do you think like those schools get all the funding? No matter what school you go to, that school always gets the most funding because that's where the money is. But he was literally getting ready to open up like a center for a lot of young kids out there to get into the tech field, like IT and all that, coding and whatnot. Like, he was about to do some things outside of music.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I didn't really listen to him like that. I mean, you know, I knew who he was. I knew a couple of his songs, but I wasn't really listening like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen it was all, but I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah, I mean, shit, it would be hard. I mean, I thought they would probably sell it to somebody or something. That's what I thought they were doing, like when they shut it down. But damn. Eric's dad sent the letter August 29th, 2022. Dear Judge Clay Jack, my name is Eric Holder Sr., the father of Eric. I just want to express my sincerest, deepest apologies to the families for the fatal action that my son Eric took. I know there are not enough words or apologies that will fill the void, the loss, the pain, and the deep sorrow the family is experiencing. You cannot imagine the agony, the grief. I mean, nothing else you can say as a father.
Well, one thing that I was saying in the chat along with Deacon Fatal was that, why wasn't this addressed in the initial trial itself? Why wait until the sentencing day for this to come out? Like, at this point, it's already too late. Like, the sentencing is already made.
He probably
like,
didn't
why
know.
Huh?
You talking about like all the psychiatric stuff?
Yeah, like all the stuff, because they said that all of this stuff was documented as far as him being diagnosed. You know, what did he say? He had
Oh yeah, back in the
schizophrenia.
day, yeah, schizophrenia.
Yeah, they said, and the thing is, all they would have to do was like look up through like documents from doctors and medication that he was on, and that was your proof right there. They could have used that, you know, in his defense, and they probably could have even got a lower sentencing.
He probably wasn't even in contact with the dude's dad, man. I mean, he a public defender. That's doing a lot of work. You know what I mean?
So.
He's a public defender. So I was looking at it like, man, maybe because the dad didn't even, if the dad felt this way and they were trying to get him off and use all of this, he should have showed up. But that's why I was like, I guess they probably wasn't in communication till towards the end. I don't know. But I mean, as a father, it's just, your kid fuck up like that. It's like, man, damn, bro. Ain't nothing you can do. I mean, you still gotta, even though you know your son was wrong, you still gotta send a letter in. Like, you even gotta admit to his guilt. Like, damn, man, this shit affects everybody. Damn. Let me see what he wrote. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read all of this, Nip. He said, what's up,
it
bro?
Kind of cuts off at the end.
Yeah.
Or it gets blurry at the end.
I know you thought a nigga, yeah, that's what it say over there. It's off the screen. I know you thought a nigga forgot about you, but it ain't like that. My phone cut off, so I just been on with I just got your I was writing this one. LOL. Anyway. Oh, okay. Anyway, what it do? I'm in there. Too much of nothing. I know. But I know your program is on point by now. Just on the strength that I know you finna be just. No, just on the strength I know you finna be swole when you come home. I've been going hard. Pause. Me and Fats, you know he got. I can't read the rest. Like another 2 weeks. Yeah, that's about as far as I can read, man.
Eric said they said his mental health didn't affect his decision during the crime. And that's another thing too. Like when I said it was that it had to be personal, because remember, after he shot him, he kicked him in the head.
Yeah,
and he shot him multiple times. So when you put that in there, yeah, it's like, yeah, that was definitely personal.
Another senseless crime. If you wasn't telling, then you wasn't telling. It would have been that easy. Damn, man.
Yeah, but I remember when it happened, because the thing is, like, I remember I was at home, I was taking a nap because I was just like really tired, and then I woke up and then I went on to Twitter, and I saw Nipsey Hussle was trending all over the place. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, one of my first things is when I see people trending like that, I hate to say it, but sometimes I do think the worst, because I know how social media can be. But I said maybe it's a good thing that did happen. I was like, one of my thought was, oh, maybe he and Lauren London, I don't know, got married or something like that, because I know they was dating at the time. But nope, when I clicked on it, it was the worst, and I was so shocked when I saw that. I was like, what the hell is going on right now?
I mean, I thought it was like somebody got him. I didn't know it was somebody like this. That was all I was thinking. I was like, damn, just some gang stuff probably. I mean, technically it is, but yeah, man, I ain't know. I was like, damn, boy, it's messed up. And it's fucked up, man. Like, my homeboy told me too. He's like, man, they got Nip. I'm like, damn, who got the nigga? And he's like, nah, they killed him. I was like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, well, yeah, it was Sunday.
Yeah, that was a yep, that was a very sad and unfortunate day. And then when I'm thinking about when I was like looking and doing some research, I said, yep, the person who did it, they gonna be on his ass like white on rice.
Oh,
I said he better hope the police catch him before the streets do, because the streets definitely was on his ass. They was on his bumper.
Not that Eric Quarter, the other Eric Quarter.
Yeah, because when I heard his name was Eric Holder, I was thinking of that Eric Holder. So I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Because that's not a name that you hear every day. And if you do, you only think of one person.
All right, good. So they ain't dropped no more information on him since the beginning of
like
the year.
you probably, the next thing you probably hear about this dude is if he's found deceased.
Yeah,
that's about it. That's about the next thing you'll probably ever hear about him. And they put this documentary probably together relatively quick, because it just came out and they just did the sentencing for him in February of this year.
Got the dude's name. Yeah, I'm trying to find that public defender's name. We were introduced to him early. Is this him? And where the hell he at? Nah, this is the police.
What's crazy is that he's a junior too. They're both juniors. That's what makes it hard to
Yeah.
find.
I don't think they showed him yet because he wasn't a lawyer, or did they?
They did say his name, but I forgot what they said his name was. Aaron Jansen.
Aaron
That's
Jansen.
his name. Aaron Jansen. AARON Jansen.
JENSEN.
Jansen. JAN.
Oh damn! I thought you said Jensen. Come on, Google. Nah, we don't want the dude in Kansas City.
They got one in Kansas City.
Man, what the hell's wrong with my computer tonight? Man, my computer been acting up these last couple of days, man.
The computer know that you're getting ready to leave and they don't want you to go. They said, so we're going to mess up before you got to get up out of here.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell this thing been on, man. It's going all slow. So look at Aaron. Aaron over here, you styling and profiling in this LinkedIn, ain't he? I wonder if Aaron won any cases or anything. Let's see. Just active. Damn. So he been in law since '95. Aaron Jansen ain't playing around. Damn.
You want to know what's so interesting too, Mo?
What's up?
Is that the singer Selena was also murdered on March 31st, 1995. And we know how she died was from a gunshot. So when he died and got shot on the same day, I immediately thought of her as well. I was like, wow, on the anniversary of her murder, and they both get shot. They both die from a gunshot wound.
It's crazy how life happens. Damn. I'm gonna watch Selena. I'm probably gonna watch Selena tonight. Oh man, let me go ahead and put a reminder.
If I was you, Mo,
I'm gonna watch Selena
I would watch
tonight.
I would watch a documentary about her as well, not just the movie, because the people who do like true crime videos really break down what happened leading up to that moment that the movie didn't touch
Torian,
on.
say less. Say less. Anything for Salinas.
If I find it, I'll send it. If I find anything, I'll send it to you, because I know exactly who you can listen to. It's this YouTuber on here named Celebrity Underrated. He did a very, very thorough breakdown about that. It was like an hour long. It's probably one of his longest episodes about her life and everything leading up to her murder and everything like that. That even the movie didn't touch on.
Yeah, send that to me. I'll check it out. You said he's on YouTube?
Yeah, the name of the account is called Celebrity Underrated. It's a black YouTuber, and he does a lot of like celebrity true crime stories, or not true crime, but stories about different celebrities who passed on, and he does his research very, very good. And let me see. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go find it now, and I'll send it to you in the back chat.
Tubi and Dan Abrams' Law and Crime have teamed up to make a true crime series. Y'all, we got us a series on our hand. Tubi said they are launching a true crime series. Tubi done it. Tubi done cracked the code, and Mo is on the train. Pause. Choo choo. Okay then, Tubi. While everyone else is on strike, we working. It's Tubi Tuesday. Let's not get it confused.
So,
Let's not forget.
and they launched it today, and it was launched it today.
let's not forget why we're here. It's Tubi Tuesday, Behind the Crime, Tubi, Mo, True Crime. Oh my goodness, Tubi done did it. They done did it. If they dropping these weekly, an hour long, hey, this is about to be some good shit right here. I'm excited. Tubi, hey, I don't want to see nobody else jumping on the Tubi wagon. The Tubi wagon, though, hey, we done already took off. We running laps. Y'all ain't watched enough movies to be doing the documentaries. I don't want to see nobody talking about no behind the crime. It's more behind the crime. I don't want to hear nobody, man. No. When we were doing Tubi back in May, in March, February this year, wasn't nobody watching no Tubi. I don't want to hear none of that. Man, that behind the crime is crazy, Mo. It's crazy that you watching it now. Get on off
Hey,
the
Mo, can you pull up Candy Love's comment? That's what I was trying to tell you about in the Discord.
Oh, man. I seen that. That was terrible. I seen what you were talking about. I looked it up. Like, yeah, pull that. That was terrible. Representation was trash. It was a horrible Tubi movie, and you're not gonna do somebody's real life like that.
Especially since that's an ongoing case too. Like it hasn't even been a whole year since it's happened, and it's still an ongoing case.
Yeah, I seen a little clip of it where they went in there and the dudes were sitting. I was like, nah, you can't do that about. You can't joke or make like somebody's real life. Like no, you can't make a mockery of it. Damn. Miss Kira, if they dropping them weekly, then we'll have Tubi Tuesday. Will be a behind the crime, and then we'll do the movies on Thursday. We'll figure something out. But I like okay. They got a thumbs up from me. I'm definitely gonna make mine and give them a thumbs up for that one. This is what I'm looking for. Per the show's logline, Behind the Crime dives deep into the inner workings of the justice system and the gripping cases that give viewers unfiltered access with real case footage. See, I was trying to give unfiltered access, but I ain't had the case footage. I had to go get the case footage. But if they give us the experts, I'll fill in the rest of the story. Each installment examines the crime from an investigation to the trial and ultimately the verdict as told from the intimate perspective of those closest to the case, the legal teams, jurors, and law enforcement, as well as the family and friends of the victims and the defendants. Okay.
But did you see the rest though? What they said they're about to come up with? Like they said the later episodes will include Killer Ex-Boyfriend, which centers around the case of Wisconsin father Zachariah Anderson, who was convicted of murdering his ex-lover's new partner, and Self-Defense or Slaughter, which follows NFL player Travis Rudolph, who claims self-defense under Florida Stand Your Ground law after a double shooting.
Hey,
we on the same website.
Yeah, I was highlighting everything you was reading. Damn. So, hey, they knocking these. Travis Rudolph was what, 2 months ago? A month ago?
Yeah. Maybe not a month ago.
Damn, boy, they knocking these things out though. All right, cool. Kirk Franklin has a story. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't know what it was. He was like, he had his son, his dad. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck. Shout out to Kirk Franklin. I ain't care that nigga met his dad. I don't give a fuck. Man. Wasn't that nigga addicted to sex or some shit?
I think it was something else. Well, yeah, it was dealing with that, but it was something else.
No, man. Shout out to Kirk Franklin. Stomp! Damn, when they gonna drop the next one? Tubi's Behind the Crimes provide our true crime fandom and with unique stories of the highest stakes told through real compelling footage. Tubi Chief Content Officer, Adam Lewinson. Hey, Mr. Adam. Holla at me. Bring me on. You give me an hour documentary, you give me 2 talking scenes for 5 minutes total, we'll be good to go, man. Just every episode, just let me jump on there real quick. You know what I'm saying? Give my little feedback. And I'm gonna give both perspectives from the law side and from the crime side. You know, because they always seem like they got one on the other. You know, let me be that liaison to bring both sides together because I got the answers.
You're gonna find your way to squeeze. You're gonna find a way to squeeze your way into this, aren't you?
Oh yeah, hey, come on, Tubi. I know it's free. I know a lot of people watch it, but a lot of people are ashamed to say that they watch Tubi movies. Not me. I'm proud. A lot of people say I watch Tubi movies. They don't never recommend no Tubi movies to you. Me, I'm proud. I get on here and watch them. So
and
hey,
this is
Dan,
also a good way to have things going on like streaming on both channels, because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I wanted to do the documentary on both. All right, boom, I can start getting the numbers up on that too. All right, cool. And we'll do this on Tubi days. Bet. So if they drop them once a week, we'll do the Tubi Law and Crime. What is this called? Behind the Crime. We'll do Behind the Crime on Tuesdays, and we'll do the Tubi movie on Thursdays. All right, bet. Is back there. Damn, I wonder when they're gonna drop them. Are they gonna be weekly or once a month? Because one thing about this,
I don't know, because they didn't say when the next episode is going to be.
This right here could go as long as they want to continue to do it. This will go on forever. He's on Law and Crime. Like I'm over at Law and Crime. Look, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use my connection, get people on here. We got the footage already. Boom, let's put it together.
And also too, Mo, before you had like clicked off of the screen, like the main screen, I guess that's the section where the documentaries are at. I saw they had more documentaries. I saw they got a Prince one up there. They had a Michael Jackson one up there. You probably missed it because you clicked off of it real fast, but I saw it though.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Tubi about to take off now. Tubi about to be out of here. Because they about to have everybody watching this. Law and Crime, it don't matter. Every demographic's gonna watch this. Hey, Tubi about to take off.
And they were smart. And they were smart to start it off with this one because this is one that a lot of people are familiar with because it's very recent. And that's another thing I like is that these cases that it looks like they're doing or talking about are very recent. It's not like they got to reach too far back where people may have been too young to remember it, or it's like fading into people's obscurity. It's fresh where it's like, oh, okay, I can say, look at this and say, oh, I remember when this happened. I remember when that happened. Like when I was looking at this, everything stuck out to me from what they put out there, except for the stuff I didn't know.
That's pretty good. Pretty damn good right there, man. I'm with you. Like I said, it was straight to the point. We got both sides of the story. And they're exposing stuff that we may not know. You know what I mean? Most of the time when we hear these stories, we kind of know everything that happened. But what they're gonna be showing here, like little stuff that happened in trial that you may have not known about.
Mm-hmm.
This is good right here. Yeah, we're gonna figure out whenever these drop. Once we figure out when these drop, we'll plan accordingly. That's good to hear, man. Now we got a Tubi schedule. Hey, look at that. Tubi went from us just watching it on the, a random Tuesday or Thursday to, hey, man, we about to have a Tubi show that we watch weekly or whenever it comes on. Look at Tubi trying to crawl up there. Tubi is like the rose that grew from concrete. When everyone counted Tubi out, Tubi said, watch this. We're going to do this one for the people.
And all Tubi needed was a writer's strike.
The writer's strike, oh, man, listen.
And to troll during the Super Bowl. Remember that commercial they did? Everybody believing that TV went out.
See, I'm just going to be real with y'all. When that commercial dropped, I ain't even fret. I was watching Tubi movies. I like, man, this is Tubi, man. I know what Tubi is.
And the thing is, at the time, we didn't know that Tubi was owned by Fox, so it made sense considering that the Super Bowl aired on Fox.
Damn, they got one, man. Dan Abrams, he already, man, he making so much money on that damn Law and Crime. He said, "Let me go with Tubi and get this on a bigger scale." YouTube
And it worked, and it works because it's not on a saturated network where it has to compete with anything. It's on something that is low key. People can easily access it. Now, here's the thing, though: if it catches on and a lot of people gravitate towards it, don't be surprised if Tubi be like, "Oh, we may want to put a little paywall here." I'm just saying they may do that.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm fearful for the day where I'll put a Tubi original on and it just shuts the stream down, man. I'm fearful for that, man. Damn, Tubi, stay free, man. Stay free. You're one of the only people I trust. If it ain't
Eric
a
and
Tubi
Kendall, the only ones over on the More You Know chat. She said, "Ain't nobody looking at this chat."
Oh man, I ain't logged in. I'm on the Mo.J. I told you we're gonna do this on my channel, my main channel. My bad if you're on the Mo You Know. If you're on the Mo You Know, or if you're over here, subscribe to the Mo You Know channel. I'm sorry. I'm only my backstage is only the YouTube one for Mo.J's. It's not for my other one. I apologize for those. I thought it would show up on my StreamYard. It should. I don't know.
I can see that. I can see it like everyone's comments on the StreamYard chat, no matter what channel they're on, because they both come in at the same time whenever, depending on when you comment. But I think they're saying they're the only ones over there, opposed to on your regular channel where there's a lot more people.
Yeah, man. On these, you might want to come to, because
I would say for this part, but I would say for the chatting part, like what we're doing, like the after talk, that you probably want to be on the main channel.
Yeah, you probably want to be on the main channel doing the thing. You can do either. Yeah, my bad, y'all. But we got us a TV show, Law and Crime, the real deal. We've been asking. We've been saying, what we gonna do? We're gonna be watching body cam footage. Well, Law and Crime, where we get all of our evidence from. They teaming up with Tubi. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought that the two companies that I fuck with would come together and unite? Who would have thunk it? Mark had a dream, but he ain't dreamed this. Law and Crime, Tubi. That's some crazy shit, man. Everybody put a won't he do it in the chat. Won't he do it? 2 free networks coming together to produce high quality material while everyone else is on strike. They work it. Damn. Damn. Okay.
And it's all because you believe, right?
Hey, you gotta believe, y'all. You gotta believe. This is a less serious moment, y'all. Now we just regular, we just chilling. So there will be a little jokes and stuff, but we'll still be looking up information. But you gotta believe in yourself. If you don't listen to your heart, if you don't listen to the rhythm of the streets, then you'll never understand it, y'all. You'll never understand it. What we just did was brought the streets of Tubi. The T stands for traffic. We brought Law and Crime, the real deal shit with the street shit. When these two collide, you have Behind the Crime. Oh my goodness. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. This is basically like forming Captain Planet. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking at this as. This right here is a power duo that's about to take over. I don't know if you guys know how big the genre of Law and Crime is, like the murder mystery, all of that. I don't know if you know how many people watch that, but this is a huge.
I like Law and Crime though. I like the Law and Crime channel, like whether it's on their website or their YouTube channel, because on their websites their articles are very well written. And also, too, they are one of the few only platforms where they will give you the body cam footage in its entirety. It's unedited, it's not chopped up, or it has no voiceovers where it's made for like a local news affiliate or something like that. Like when we went over with that teacher, I still go back and look at that clip like every day to get a good laugh out of that. That shit was hilarious.
True crime to be in right now. True crime, that shit, man, it took off, man. People love watching this stuff. What up, Tracy? Behind the crime. Damn. They didn't cancel Winning Time, but guess what? Tubi Long Crime is Winning Time, baby. We got a dub right out the gate.
And the thing is with this, you can never run out of stories to tell because there's so many.
Exactly, and they happen every single day. Because even if they brought out crimes that like the Wisconsin father, like I really don't know much about that.
Have you heard of it though?
But I didn't know anything about it. But there's always trials, even with the update. The lady in Utah, what the hell they names, man, them crooked bastards. They found a safe room in her house.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. So there's a lot of stuff going down with that case still. Also, there's another Utah wife. I don't know what the hell's going on in Utah.
That damn the Mormon state.
She was poisoning her husband's like his beer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jody and Ruby. Yeah, man. So we got a lot of content. Luckily for us, we can do that on the main channel now. We can still do our regular cases over on the Mo You Know, but we'll be doing all these over here. Hopefully, they give us a list of like crimes that they're going to go through, so we can kind of.
Yeah, because the thing is, on there, it's just saying that these are later episodes. It's not saying that these are the next 2 episodes. So those are just ones that they're mentioning are coming up, but there could be other ones after this one. We don't know what the next one is after this, but I doubt it's the 2 they mentioned. But it's just saying those are coming.
Yeah, these just we got these, and it'll make you watch maybe.
And basically, what I'm looking at is based on the 2 that they mentioned, and you can include with Nipsey Hussle, is all of these are crimes or that happened that have been resolved this year. Like the one with Travis Rudolph, that was a couple months ago when they resolved that one, and the other one was resolved back in May of this year. So like I said, all of this stuff is recent. They're talking about within the last year, 2 or 3 years. So it's very, very recent.
Yeah, so it was June 7th when he was
found not guilty.
Yeah, so what, 3 months? Well, this is probably already recorded, so 2 months. I mean,
yeah,
well,
like I said, the other one was in May.
Oh, in May. All right, yeah, yeah. I mean, once you get all the evidence from the court, shoot, you can throw these together, and then you just interview both sides, and whoever you bring in. But it's good. I think they did a good ass job. That was high quality. It gave a lot of information. It didn't feel rushed.
Unfortunately, your computer wanted to be a hater.
I don't know what it is, man. Like it literally just started either yesterday or the night before.
You know what it was? That damn forklift.
Oh man, hell, it was messing up before that damn forklift, man.
Yeah, I went back and watched. I went back and watched that. Your reaction to that,
shit, man. The forklift, man. I ain't never seen no shit like that before. Hold on, let me see if they even got if anything's like coming up next on Tubi. Oh, behind. Damn. See if they got anything else on here for behind the crime. Behind the Crown. And they got Get Out on here. I wish you could just watch anything on here for free.
Yeah,
I mean,
you ain't watching Get Out on here. That's waiting to happen.
Man, YouTube shouldn't be hating, man. How long it's taking to load up and shit, man. This damn computer, bro. It ain't one thing or another. Behind the Bullet. It's a true crime documentary. Yeah, but Tubi original too. No, they ain't got nothing else on here for it. Showing if there's a
like I
next
said,
episode.
they just launched it today, so yeah. Who knows if it's a weekly series, then that means that it'll always fall on a Wednesday since it launched on a Wednesday. So I would say check back again next Wednesday.
Yeah. I didn't know nothing. I didn't even know that they were releasing it until Kendall put it in the Discord.
Kendall says subscribe to Tubi on YouTube, and when they drop anything, you'll get the notification.
Oh man, Tubi ain't responding to my email. They ain't getting no subscribe from me. No, Tubi. Hey, it's business is business, man. I reached out to y'all. I watched these movies now. I'm not about to give you a subscribe now.
Hold on, what kind of email did you send them?
Man, I holler at them. Tubi, check my email, mo.j@gmail. I said y'all email me, holler at me.
I'm almost scared to ask what you asked for, what you demand. More like demanded, knowing you probably demanded something.
I ain't demand nothing. I'm very, very professional in emails. You know what I mean? I just emailed them, ask them a few things. I'm not gonna get into the business behind it. You know what I mean? We're not gonna talk numbers and nothing. That Tubi, holler at me. You know what I mean?
bet numbers was a part of it though, or at least you hinted at some kind of a figure.
Hey man, I ain't working for free.
You doing the Birdman hand rub right now, so that means there was money involved.
Eric, tell him I ain't working for free now. You know what I mean? I ain't working free now. I reached out. Hell, they getting advertisement dollars whenever these go to commercial. They getting advertisement dollars, which all these other streaming services should probably do. Hey, play a commercial before my free movie, man. I shouldn't have to pay that much. Tubi got the right idea. But yeah, I just reached out to them, let them know, I appreciate everything they do and dap them up and shit. But Tubi, holla at me. Holla at me, Tubi. I didn't demand anything. I may have asked for, if I'm gonna get on here, do this, I need y'all to do this. You know what I mean? A little back and forth, a little negotiation. That ain't nothing too serious. I ain't gotta worry about nothing. You know what I mean? I may have asked to be like VP of, seeing like independent film. I may have asked a few things, but hey, you gotta ask. You know what I'm saying? It's negotiations, right?
They maybe probably took one look at that email and said, "Who is this? What is this?"
Nah, man, Tubi, holla at me. Holla at me, Tubi.
But on the real though, like you really are like one of the few people that I do see that will entertain Tubi, no matter if it's good or bad or somewhere in between. But with this series that they got going on right now, it's probably gonna be 10s across the board every single time. Like this is their kickoff, this launch right here. I have high hopes for the rest of them, like hands down, without even seeing anything yet.
Hey, we might have to watch this on the y'all, the Ted Bundy one. It's hour 25 now. It's not gonna be the behind the crime, but hour 25.
Yeah, I heard some stories about that dude. That dude, woof. Now that one's
man. See, I'm gonna have to watch these by myself. This is what I really want to watch. Behind the Line. That's what I want to watch. Behind the Line. The hell with Behind the Crime. Damn, Tubi got some documentaries on here. I didn't even know. All right. Prince Philip. Hey, Off the Porch. This is good.
Oh, that one. Listen, you see the one next to it, The Murderous Minds in Jim Jones. That man was. Now that was the ultimate cult leader right there.
No, I can't.
I always said that if they made a cult, I said that they always said if they made a Jim Jones movie, I truly believe Leonardo DiCaprio should play him.
Man, y'all gonna have him flipping out. Y'all keep making him play these roles, man. He ain't gonna be right in the head. Y'all keep letting Leonardo play. I mean, he's a hell of an actor, but man, he said he messed up with the Django.
Yeah, he messed up his hand.
You know what I'm saying? It was hard for him to go through all of that. Like saying nigga and
I
stuff.
bet. Yeah. Yeah, well, Kendall, saying Jim Jones was scary, that's an understatement.
Eric said post the Discord, put the email. Nah, I can't do that, man. That's business. And if Tubi is listening, they like, damn, he could be a VP. Mo out here, hey, he can handle all the critics. You know what I mean?
Eric, was it that Killers of the Flower Moon movie? That sounds like the movie you might be talking about.
Oh, here we go. They got Tarzan, y'all. The true story of Tarzan.
The true story of Tarzan. That's all the Disney
behind the
movie.
legend. No, I think it's just a story about the actor. Man, Tubi got some weird shit in here, don't they? Revenge Ride 2020. Face Behind the Dream. Let me see what this is. What is this? House Party? Oh, it's a series? Oh, no. We're not doing that over here, man. Shout out to them, though. Shout out to them. But no, we not on. I don't have any appropriate channels for that. I don't know what that was. The FBI files.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they did. They pretty much kind of gave the plot away a little bit in the trailer.
For which one?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Man, what the hell is that? Some sci-fi stuff?
No, it's a new movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in. It's actually like based on a true story. Basically, it was like some back in the day, like some white men basically came across. Well, actually, some natives came across some land where some oil. Like when you catch that oil, that means you about to be wealthy as shit. So they basically found it they couldn't get it the way that they wanted to. So they basically came up with a plot to mix and mingle with them in order to impregnate the women, have children, just so their offspring can inherit that land, so they can get a piece of it. It was like one big scheme.
Damn. Man, there's so many things out.
It was some real colonizing activity, huh?
What'd you say?
What's the name of the movie? Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, damn it. Come on, man. The Flower Moon.
Hey, did you say I'm from Oklahoma? Or was that a mistype? Because I ain't from Oklahoma.
Damn, you from Oklahoma? I thought you was from Mississippi.
I'm from neither. Like, what the?
Damn, y'all always thought Torian's from. I thought he just lived in Maryland. I thought he's from Mississippi, man. Damn,
I am not from no damn Mississippi. I don't even have no family in Mississippi.
Damn, man. Torian got on YouTube and turned his back. He don't even fuck with no.
Mo, I thought you was from Nebraska.
Nebraska. Now you didn't cross the line. Nebraska, man. Hell no.
Well, look outside your window and see them tumbleweeds going down that dirt road.
I stayed in Valentine. There's a town called Valentine. I stayed in Valentine, Nebraska, and we used to drive into South Dakota to the reservation to work every day. That was the only time I ever been in Nebraska.
Oh, okay, Eric said if you are from Oklahoma, you know the story. Okay, so you missed the if. The way that you wrote it, you made it seem like you tried to tell me I was from Oklahoma. I'm like, nah, I'm not from Oklahoma. Nothing against people from Oklahoma.
Damn, man. All right, but they an hour. So next time we know, the next case we know we're gonna watch, and then we're gonna get some. I'm gonna try to find some extra footage that we can actually break it. You know what I'm saying? Break the case down even further, and actually, you know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna give us this information, but we can get the fill in the blank part. All right, so we'll be more prepared for that. That's dope. Cool, man. Now we basically got some free time. I ain't gonna lie to you. What, 2 hours? Yeah, we got some free time. So I say
because you're not like that. It's within an hour. It's an hour worth. So Yeah, they covered quite a bit.
Shit, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. They just did the professional version of what I do on the Mo You Know.
Right.
They did the professional version. I might need to put a suit on. That's what I'm gonna start doing. When I get settled, I'm gonna be wearing a suit on the Mo You Know channel.
And what I like
I'm
too
wearing
is that they didn't
and I'm
have
gonna
to
wear
do
my
like any they didn't do like any reenactment.
Yeah.
This is all footage, like real raw footage.
Now that's gonna be crazy when we start seeing like they're gonna be showing ring cameras, all kinds of stuff, especially in the Rudolph case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of excited about this now. Not that the crimes happened, but damn, that they put together something. You know what I mean? So I get to like, damn,
for
all right.
like for all the people that's like really into true crime and stuff like that. Low-key, I'm kind of into that as well. I don't think I could ever go in depth like they do because I know my lane. But for those who do, I commend them because that is a lot of research. A lot of research you have to do just for one story.
See, I could do that if I'm only doing Kindle. I don't know yet. Depending on whatever day that they drop. If they drop on Wednesdays, then we'll probably try to do them on that Wednesday. Then and we'll just make Wednesday the day for Behind the Crime on Tubi. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm glad that they put that together, man. An hour, shoot, an hour, give us some information. But I'm gonna do the docs that same day. So whatever the case is, I'll just look up some information on it.
Hey Mo, what would you say is the most wildest story to come out of Kansas City? One that you would say that stayed in the news for a while.
Shantae Henderson.
Why does that name
She was
sound
a
familiar?
mass murderer. She was on the news. The feds were looking for her. Dog, like everybody was scared of her.
You said she was a mass murderer.
Yeah, the FBI was after her. She was like 17, 18 or something like that. Shantae Henderson, and we had the little black girl, Precious Doe. I think that was her name, Precious Doe, that the head was decapitated. She was from Kansas City or around this area. But yeah, this is Shantae Henderson here.
Oh, so they just called her last year?
No, they called her a while back. But yeah, look, she was on the Gangster Trap Queens. Shantae Henderson is an American felon. She was a fugitive wanted for murder for several months until she was apprehended by the FBI.
Oh,
March
back in
31st. Yeah, back in 2007, after being on the FBI 10 most wanted fugitives list for 24 hours, a reward of $100,000. Yeah, so you're like 3 years older than me, 4 years older than me.
Yeah, 07. I would at the time when that happened, and look at the date, March 31st. What is that about that? What is it about that date? I was getting ready to turn 8. I was getting ready to turn 18 in May of that year. And that was my senior year of high school. So I was getting ready to graduate soon.
Yeah, I think this Trap Queens thing, yeah, it's on BT. We can't watch that. But I'll do the story on Shantae. Yeah, man. The feds were after her, man. She was on top 10. That shit was crazy. Shouldn't got 10 years though. She was on the FBI's top 10 and got 10 years. But lawyer got her manslaughter. So Shantae Henderson, probably that, and I think Erica Green. She was here from Kansas City. Precious Doe. Michelle Marie Green, also known as Precious Doe, was an American 3-year-old girl who was murdered in Kansas City, Missouri, April 2001. Green's decapitated body was discovered April 28th. 2001, her head was found nearby on May 1st, but remained unidentified till 2005. So it was 4 years before they identified her. Damn. Yeah, probably those two. Those are the only two I can really think of from Kansas City. Well, I mean, Mac Dre got killed here too, though.
Yeah, I would say one of the, even though this what didn't happen in the state of Maryland, again goes back for me to that DC sniper. That was a wild time.
Owen Hart, he passed here. Fell from the ceiling.
Yeah.
From the rafters. I remember that. I used to watch wrestling back then too. Damn, I mean, yeah. Yep, that's I can get out of here. Yeah. So this is where I stayed right here, Valentine, Nebraska. So we stayed here in Valentine, Nebraska. What?
Valentine, Nebraska.
Yeah.
That sounds like a small town.
I ain't know nothing about it. Oh yeah, man. It was like a truck stop, and the truck stop had a McDonald's in it. And then we would drive up the Rosebud, drive up to the reservation. And it's this dirt road that you could go off, but you can get to work faster. We used to work in this it was like a warehouse. Damn, let me see. Yeah, so Rosebud, stay in Valentine. Let me see if they got a subway yet. Man, look how slow my computer is going. This is where we stay here because you get right on this highway and go straight up. The Super 8. The Super 8. Good old town. Hell yeah. I stayed on this side of the building. Damn, they still ain't got shit here. Damn. Valentine, Nebraska. Yep. You hop on this road, go up, cross over into South Dakota, get up on the reservation. Now, when you get on the reservation, hey, you know what I'm saying? You got to be cool. You know what I mean? You got to be cool. So I was straight. You know what I'm saying? They fuck with me. I was black. So they fuck with me. You know what I mean? They didn't really like my supervisor. So they would always come to me and ask me shit. So that's one reason I ended up getting promoted to a manager. But I didn't have the manager responsibilities. So I was getting manager pay at the age of 21. So I was basically the second team lead, man. I missed this job, bro. This is my man. I used to fuck with this shit. So you go up in the Rosebud, it's different. Like if you get a ticket, man, you really ain't gotta pay that motherfucker, to be honest with you. But like the police on there, they cool because they knew we were down there. We were helping them out. Shoot, you get on this damn 83, man. You doing about 100. They ain't even care. You drive past the police on the reservation, they don't even really care like that. They be cool, you know what I'm saying? As long as ain't no one on the road. I ain't gonna lie, man. I miss being on the reservation, though. It was cool being around the Native Americans. Now, I don't call them Indians, man. They're Native Americans. Damn. Hell yeah, man. Used to be on the I worked on the Navajo reservation out there in was it New Mexico? Top of New Mexico. We stayed in flew into Colorado Springs, stayed in Pagosa Springs, and then we worked down here on the no, it was the Hickarilla tribe. Yeah, the Navajo Nation. There you go. Yep. Stayed in Pagosa Springs. This is the first time I ever went snowboarding down here.
How did you do?
Yeah. Oh man, I was trash at snowboarding. I got better though. I went my first time ever going snowboarding was in Pagosa Springs, and then we would drive down to you drive down and then you're gonna go left once you get down here, go up into Dulce, and then the reservation is right over here. So we worked on the reservation. But yeah, snowboarding, I was all right. The first time I was on the bunny hill, you know, just real, it ain't steep at all. So do the Bunny Hill, and then when I went up to Montana, when I went to Wolf Point, no, we didn't get to go snowboarding there. When I got to Billings, so my first time ever going down to Albuquerque, I was like, damn, Albuquerque's an actual city. I thought Albuquerque was some rural shit. So we would go from
yeah, that's the capital of New Mexico.
Yeah, but I mean, I was like, this is my second trip. My first trip was to Montana, Wolf Point, Montana. My second trip was down here, and it was during the wintertime. Man, I ain't know nothing about no Albuquerque. I'm from Kansas City. Shit, we went down to Albuquerque. You just drive straight down, but goes to Albuquerque. It's like a 3.5, 4 hour ride. Shit, chilling Albuquerque for the weekend because there wasn't shit up here. We watched the Super Bowl. True story. So it's like, damn, we stayed right at the base of like one of the mountains. True story. I don't know, it was some weird shit. So we all it was 4 of us out there. It was 2 dudes from DC, my dog Detta, and my boy Los. So it was them 2, and it was my older brother. And like we used to work out in this little warehouse. But our hotels, we stayed in like a motel because it's a little, I mean, it's like 2004. So we used to stay in there, but we would have all 4 of our doors open. You know what I'm saying? Like both of the 2 rooms, they were straight across the hall. So we had the door open. You just go into each other's room. We watch a TV, watch the game in somebody's room, but we can just yell across the room and talk to each other. Because initially it was just us 4 at the end of the hallway. But one time, man, we about whooped this dude's ass because we had the doors open. We all went into the dude Los's room because the Super Bowl was on. So the dog, my dog, he went. It was some dude on some kind of drugs, right? Because it ain't nothing but white people there. We were the only 4 black people like in the town, right? So it was a dude that was on like some drugs or some shit. Man, my dog went to his room and the dude was in his room. All he had on was a t-shirt. Like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Our homeboy took that nigga, threw him out in the hallway. This nigga ain't had no drawers on. I was like, man, what the fuck, man? So it was some fucking nigga on some drugs, dog, just walking around. Like, what the fuck is this dude? But I whooped his ass, but security came and got him. I guess they were looking for him. Like, what the fuck?
He looked like a junkie.
Man, he was walking around. It looked like he was sleepwalking because he was walking around. He said, "Oh, I thought I smelled weed in here." I'm like, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? They ain't had no drawers on. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was about to go slide the nigga pause, but he ain't had no drawers on. I was like, man, hell no. Now this story, we started talking about it because I was in Pagosa Springs. And that's just one story I remember, bro. That's just one story I remember. Like, see, we stayed right at the bottom of the hill. It's like a little motel, watch.
Well, I think the only place you haven't been to yet is the moon.
The moon? Man, I ain't going to no damn moon. Hell no, I'm good on the ground. If I want to have no gravity, I'll jump on a trampoline. I don't even do roller coasters no more. After I became an adult, I was like, man, these things be breaking down a little more often than people are reporting. Yeah, we stay like right over here in one of these, but man, it was our first time out there, and our the supervisor, his name was Anthony, RIP to him. He actually passed probably like 10 years ago. No, it probably was longer than that. Probably about 15, 20 years ago. He passed. He was he had HIV. And RIP to Ant. We stayed like right here in one of these. I don't remember what the shit was called, but all this other shit wasn't over here. But we stayed right here. And we about whooped that nigga's ass though. It's one of these. Cause it was snowing too. Like, damn, man. Man, he probably gone, bro. He probably gone. Shoot. That was cool. Man, hit that like button. We ain't talking about nothing, y'all. We over here. Oh yeah, Spokane, Washington. I stayed up there. That's where I drove from. I tell y'all. Yeah, when I tell y'all, I only went to Seattle one day. I've been to Seattle twice. I flew into Seattle, and then I had to get a rental car, and we drove all of our work down to Portland, Oregon. So that's the only time I've been. Well, I flew in there twice. But then we went from there to Spokane. But yeah, so I ain't never been around Seattle, but I stayed in Spokane, Washington for roughly 4 months, over right by the base. But we worked on the reservation up here, man, and I ain't gonna lie to you. That was like the first time I ever been on the highway, and I was scared driving from Seattle to Portland because you really up in the mountains.
How long
And
was that drive?
It really ain't that long though. I think 3-4 hours. Not even that
Okay,
long.
I'll ask you this: how fast were you going? Is the better question.
No, I wasn't going fast, and that's why I was nervous because I was driving the U-Haul. You remember on my job, I had to collect all these boxes, so I didn't do Seattle. I was on another trip, so I actually flew from where was I? Arizona. No, I was in DC because I went up to Seattle, and that's when I became the team lead once I got down to Portland. So that drive, I had to drive a U-Haul, and in the back of the U-Haul, we had the pallets. So I flew in because I was one of the best rappers to ship shit out. So they flew me in, and I was gonna start the Portland trip with them. But when I got to Seattle, we had to rent the U-Haul, and I had to wrap up 8 pallets. Now, when you wrap up 8 pallets, that's 60 boxes on each one. But they didn't stack none, so you got to go 4 one side, and then in the middle row you got 3, but you skip put the box on one end, and on the other one you do a reverse. You do 2 boxes, skip a space 1, and then you turn that motherfucker, and you got to stack all the up. So you got to do 6 high on 8 pallets, but they hadn't did anything. So when I flew in, as soon as I land, they like, hey, we got to go pick up the U-Haul. Then we got to pack up the trucks because we got to be out the office. Mind you, I got in about 1 o'clock. They had to be out the federal building at 4. I'm like, God damn, y'all ain't do shit. So I had to go get the damn rental truck. But yeah, I couldn't drive fast, man. I had them documents in the back of that truck, man.
So you had to do the speed limit.
Shit, not only that, why I'm about to show you these highways up here, man. Nigga, we in the mountains, nigga. And I got a fucking U-Haul, dog. I'm like, hey, yo, what the fuck? Let me see, man. If I could show you what it look like up in these motherfucking mountains in a U-Haul, nigga, you trying to go down the hill hitting the brake? Oh, hell no. Man, them, like Eric said, them pallets get the shit. Man, we had a U-Haul. We didn't have a real truck with shit strapped down, man. These motherfuckers were just 8 pallets in the back of the extended cab U-Haul, bro. Man, let me tell you, dog, I was in that motherfucker nervous as hell. No, I wasn't on no delivery for no damn Tejadas. Hell no. Let me tell you something. I was on the way for that check on the 1st and the 15th. That's what I was on the way for. Driving that motherfucking truck. Then when we went to Portland at the end of that trip, this is the first trip that my brother came to work with me on. So my brother, as soon as he got out of school, we got him the job. His first trip was up to Montana. My first trip was up to Montana. Then they brought him out to work the last 2 or 3 months out in Portland with me. And so I would be in the other room and I just wrap up the pallets and shit. I could really just chill. But if they needed me, I'll go in there and do the index and shit. Cause to be real, I'm a player. You know what I'm saying? I'm a player. I'm probably the best at what it is here when it comes to documenting shit. But so I would just be in the room chilling. But when we had to leave the federal building in Portland, these fools, my brother and this chick Margene, shout out to Margene. My brother and Margene, they had the pallet jack, but they going down the hallway and they can't see shit. Now me, I'm on the back of the truck. So when they bring the pallets up there, we had a Penske truck this time. We in Portland. I'm like, hey man, we ain't got no dock out here. I'm not about to be trying to stack the boxes again on the pallet. So she got us the Penske truck. So I'm waiting on them because it's taking long. It should be about 20 minutes to go down there, get another pallet and come back up. An hour had passed. Now, my supervisor, her name was Dodie. This is the one her ass was trying to get us in a lot of trouble. But she fucked with me because she knew without me, she couldn't get shit accomplished because the natives didn't really fuck with her like that. So she came up and she smoked cigarettes and I'm on the back of the truck. I'm sweating my ass off like, God damn, where they at? I ain't got no water out here. She smoking a cigarette. She talking about, Julius, they done knocked the water fountain off the wall. These niggas didn't knock the goddamn water fountain off the wall, man. Damn. Nah, man, they don't care, Kendall. They don't care. Hell, once they knocked it off, the people were still like, man, they came and talked to me. Like when I went back down there, I looked at it, and it was basically, man, I didn't know, like, it's just really sealed, but the water fountain ain't really, it's just on a hook. It's kind of like a bathroom sink. But it wasn't really nothing that bad. They like, oh, don't worry about it. Because, man, they knew we didn't have the proper equipment down there. Man, them pallet jacks that they had, them shit's terrible. But shit, I knew all of that. That's why I said, I'm going to go get on the truck and I'm going to load the truck up. Because y'all don't even know how to put the motherfuckers on the truck. Y'all just putting them up here. But yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah, shout out to Dodie. We was in, when I was telling y'all we worked in, I stayed in Valentine. One day, these fools is smoking cigarettes, right? Everybody know I don't smoke no cigarettes. There's only 2 people that smoke cigarettes. And only one person was smoking that day. So they flicked their shit into the motherfucking trash can. Like the big ass.
I think I know where that's at. It
Man,
caught fire.
We go back into the shop, right? We get to working, right?
They didn't put the cigarette out.
And then we sitting there and they like, hey, it's a fire. I'm like, man, what the fuck? We got the bay door open because it gets warm in there, but it was cold outside. So you got the little bay door open and you get like a little breeze in. We're like, what that smell? Man, the fire department showed up. So the locals that volunteer for the fire department, they came in that motherfucker. They looked at me and said, hey, what happened? I said, they looked at me. I said, I don't know nothing, man. I got back to work. Man, they knew I ain't smoking no cigarettes, man. The fire department.
Ain't no more. You gotta say it like Milton on the Boondocks. I don't smoke no cigarettes.
I ain't say nothing. I was just, hey, they knew what they did. And the natives knew I was cool, man. I told you, like my first time I went to a sweat lodge in Montana, so I was cool with the natives. And they were giving me recommendations. I forgot the lady's name, though, in Portland. Oh, everything I love. She offered me a job. She was joking around. But she offered me a job to come up to Portland and work at the federal building with her. Sometimes I think about the jobs that I could have took. And then we had my homeboy out in D.C. He offered me and my brother a job. He told us to come out to D.C. We never did it, though, because we was on the road. And then per them checks, they were nice. But shit, they were setting us up. She wanted me to come up there and work with them.
I'm laughing at the chat.
Yeah, man, that was a good time, man. Portland is nice. There's a lot of junkies in Portland, though. Be careful in Portland. You get on the train, they got this thing called it's the Rose City. So in May, they be having like a legit Rose Festival. I went downtown and seen that. I was like, damn, they got like a little carnival and shit. So I stayed over by the mall. I was on the other side of the river. Then you got to take the little train down the river. You go across this little bridge. You see the Portland Trailblazers Stadium right there on the right. I went to a game too. Yeah, man. Portland's actually straight. You said what?
The Trailblazers?
Yeah, the Trailblazers, like right before you go across the there you go. The Motor Center. Because I lived right next to the movie theater and the mall. Yep. Damn, where the mall at? Shit, wherever it is. It was over by the water though, because they had we stayed at the Residence Inn. They had a basketball court out there. And when the weekend that my brother came up there, all of the rooms at the Residence Inn were full. So my supervisor, not my supervisor, my boss, shout out to John, you know what I mean? Shout out to John. He fucked with me and my brother, for real, man. He used to look out for us. He used to put us on all the trips. Hey, Mo, we got a trip coming up. I said, John, don't worry about it. Any trip, put me on that motherfucker. When do you want to come home? You want to go do 3 weeks and then come home a week? Hell no, John. Let me stay on the road as long as possible. Give me that check, John. I got a hotel. I get paid to do nothing on the weekends. I'm getting per diem, man. Don't even send me to, man. I'm staying on the road. No, not the downtown one. But they stayed down in Portland. This is the first place I ever used the train on. Riding the train out here, pause. You know what I mean?
That's the first time you ever rode the train out there or ever?
Ever.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to DC after this trip. But I've been to DC. No. I'm wrong. I apologize. I went to DC. I stayed in DC. We always stayed at the Marriott because my boss, he would take the points. If you didn't take the points, he would take the points. But he used to get all the airline flights too, like all of your points and shit. And then that nigga was always like, when he sent an email.
Where at in DC did you stay?
14th and K Street at the Residence Inn. Me and my brother Me and my brother had the top floor suites. We had the apartment rooms. That's when me and my brother stayed up there for 60 days. Well, it's actually 63 days. So he had one room and I had one room. He's like, would y'all be cool with the suite? I said, hell yeah. Because it's cheaper to get the suite per night than it was for two individual, you know what I'm saying, individual ones. So we used to stay down there at the Residence Inn, 14th and K. We could walk down to the little federal building. Yeah, I used to ride the train there, the Blue Line. I rode the train down to one of them malls that they had, but I went in there, it was a lot of niggas with Nike boots on. I was like, man, I'm cool out here. I don't know nobody. For real. I went down to the mall. I was like, man, it's a lot of niggas in here. I was hell no.
Listen. At what year did you go to DC?
Shit, in between 2004 and 2009, every year I went to DC.
You see, at that time, DC was still very much chocolate city. So yeah, it was still a lot of black people. If you go there now, it looks very different. But yeah, like at that time when you went, DC was very, very still very, very, very black.
Because I asked my brother, I was like, hey, when I get off, I'm gonna go down to the mall. He was like, all right, bet. Man, we got off work. We went up to the room. I took a shower and changed. This is tall T days. So I had a jersey and shit on. So I went to my room, took a shower and changed. I knock on his door, open up the door. Nigga in there sleep. I was like, man, I got to go get me some teas and shit. So I'm going to go down to the mall. Man, I went in there. I ain't buying shit. I looked around like, man, there's too many niggas in here, dog.
Oh yeah, back then at that time, Nike boots was like the premier shoe to wear in the area. Like you probably didn't know. It was probably someone that if there was one pair of shoe that they did own, it was going to be a pair of Nike boots. I should know because I had a pair.
Yeah, man, that was a deep, man. Kansas City niggas wouldn't wear no fucking Nike. Niggas a clown you wore Nike boots back in Kansas City.
Oh yeah, but like if he was in DC and has a pair of Nike boots, you was kind of good. So
yeah, I mean, they eventually got onto it, but man, we fucking late as hell.
Yeah, when you came up to DC, when you was in DC, you said in 04, right?
Yeah, in between 04 and 09. My first trip was the end of 04. That was to Montana. After that trip, I went to Arizona. Yeah, I went to Arizona. So my first time going to DC, and I remember it, is 2005. No, was it? What year did ATL come out? If you give me the year when ATL came out.
In 06.
06. Let me see what day it is. Let me see. March 28th, 2006. I can give you my whole timeline up until 2009 of where I was. March 28th,
if you was in DC in 06.
My first time going to DC is Easter of 2006. Easter. I was in Arizona. I worked in we worked on the reservation. DC, Arizona, well, DC, like Phoenix area and Albuquerque were the places I visited the most. Headquarters is in DC. The annex was in Albuquerque, and there was a lot of reservations down here. March 28th, 2006, me and one of my co-workers, Winky, me and my co-workers, she and I, we went to go see this movie. So we would always joke whenever ATL came on. So we went to see this March 28th. On 2 days before Easter, they said, we need you in DC. Can you go to DC? I flew out Easter morning. It was about 8 hours from Arizona all the way up to DC. And I went to DC, and this is the first time I went to DC, and I stayed there for 5 weeks. I had my own hotel room. I left and came back to Kansas City for 2 weeks that was not paid. Went back to DC for 3 weeks to finish up that first job. That's when they broke me and my brother up from being on the same team. And my brother went on with the Albuquerque crew, and I stayed with the Kansas City crew. From there is when my homeboy got hired on. That's when I went to Valentine, Nebraska. After Valentine, Nebraska, I went back down to Arizona. My brother and the Albuquerque team met up with us down there. 2 teams down there, 4 cars, deep as hell, pulling up to the reservation, bumping some Gucci, man. Because if I'm driving, we listening to Mo's music. Y'all shut up and put your seatbelt on. Let's get it. Boom. From there, that's when I told you I went up to Seattle, went down to Portland. My brother got on at the job. He started working with us. Then I went to Spokane, where I stayed out there for 3 months, went back down to Arizona. The Pagosa Springs and all that was before then, but down in Arizona, I worked in Flagstaff. That's when I drove from Flagstaff to Phoenix, Arizona one weekend. They kicked me out the club and put me in handcuffs because they thought I fit the description of a guy that shot up the club the week prior. That's when I told y'all they went through all of my damn federal shit and was looking at my ID and everything aligned. Boom, left up out of there. Me and my brother linked back up. This time they put us in motherfucking Carson City, Nevada. Flew into Reno, went to Carson City. This is when they pulled us over for driving too slow because they said we look suspicious for driving up under the speed limit. So they ran everything, and that's when my homeboy, the vehicle was registered in his name, and it was late to be returned into the rental car company because we had a government rental. So it's like, hey man, just extend it until we bring it back. So the police got 2 black guys in the middle of Carson City pulled over for driving under the speed limit. We got to call up our supervisor because the story we telling them is, hey, yeah, man, we working for the government. We from Kansas City. The plates are California. We're in Nevada. We're going under the speed limit. And it was registered in the co-worker's name. So for them, they looking at 2 niggas like, nigga, please. So our supervisor had to get out the bed, come up there and be like, yeah, everything is cool. I had a lot of run-ins with the law while I was working at this job, but none of them were ever my fault.
I'm amazed you was able to remember all of that.
Nah, I remember that, man.
You know the whole timeline.
Because I had to remember what date it was. I knew I went to DC for the first time. It was on Easter because I flew out that Sunday. I remember that. I ain't gonna lie, I was excited because I was working in Arizona. And when I worked in Arizona, dog, nigga, tall tees, baggy pants. And I used to have to load them trucks up. We worked, let me show you the reservation. This is one of the biggest reservations. Man, we worked on this.
I remember. Listen, I remember the tall tees and baggy jeans days.
Man, I was about, look, I never experienced heat. Like, man, I'm from Kansas City, man. Dog, by 9 o'clock in the morning, it was like 109 degrees, man. I was out in that shed putting boxes together because, like, everybody else that was on the inside, they doing their archiving, they breaking them down, putting them in their individual boxes. Well, down below the building, it was an old fire station. Down below the building is where the pallet jacks and stuff was. It wasn't no garage door or nothing. It was just a damn concrete hill that goes up under there. So we used to have to go down there and we would stage the boxes. Wasn't ideal, but we had to do it. So we had to pull, like, we got to pull the pallet jack up the hill. But if we stored the boxes down there, now we got to pull the pallet jack up the hill with like 400 pounds worth of boxes. So the Native Americans is about 110 degrees. We like, hey, we can't get this done, man. This shit's too tough. So the Native Americans at the new fire department, they came over with a 4-wheeler. Man, let me tell you, we tied the 4-wheeler up with some rope onto the pallet jack. Man, this ain't the movies, man. That shit did not work. He went up that hill. That motherfucker ain't go nowhere. We got to push. So now they get 2 of the other firefighters. It's a big dude too. They get behind the pallet and they start pushing. So we on the side with the extra ropes that they put around, and we trying to pull this shit up. Man, when we got up the hill, the back boxes, like 3 rows, were all smashed in and stuff. We had to redo the boxes. But they came outside and said, hey, Mo, they need you in DC. I said, the hell with this shit. Nigga's too fucking hot. My brother in DC, this nigga talking about, yeah, man, they got us downtown, man. We can walk out. Like, damn, man, they got me. Oh, boy, they got me working. But yeah, man, that was a good time. That was a good old time, man.
And who knows? The whole time you was in DC, we probably crossed each other and didn't even know it because clearly we didn't even know each other back then.
Man, you was just a kid then.
Oh yeah, and like when you was in DC, I was still like in my teens. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Fort Apache, been there, San Carlos. So a lot of these reservations, I mean, they work together, but work there. Where's not Yuma? Did I ever go to this? No, I never been to Colorado River. Casa Grande, that's where it was. Damn, man, yeah. Good old DC, man. Stayed out there. So when we worked, when we lived in Casa Grande, we was on the Gila River, right? We there was a one day one of the rivers it got flooded. And one of our supervisors, he was driving the car. Well, he was a team lead, so he was a team leader of the other one. But like I said, at that time, me and my brother were both supervisors also, so he didn't have any authority over us. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't have the responsibility, and no one knew. They weren't, well, I mean, a couple of them knew, but they weren't supposed to know that we did that, so it wouldn't be unfair or whatever. But so we out here in the road had flooded. And we had we had 3 vehicles because it was the Albuquerque team with us, and we were working outside of a school, man. We tore the school up, man. I didn't. They did. I told them, hey, man, we can't pull these pallet jacks. I was the equipment guy. I said, we can't pull these pallet jacks with the boxes on them because it's going to be too heavy. It's going to tear up the carpet because you got to go over like these little bumps that they had for some reason. So it's the day that school, it's like the first day of school. And we trying to get out of it. That was our deadline. But they gave us some slack because it was going to be a half a day. So it's about half a day. And we trying to pull the motherfucking, the pallet jacks out. Man, the dude, Mike, I just wanted to let y'all know about the flood. So now you can understand what this guy be thinking. This dude talking about, he smoked his cigarette, came back inside, and he was trying to meet the deadline. He was tearing up the carpet and shit. I said, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with this, man. Hell no. Hell no. He talking about, we got a deadline. I said, that deadline ain't that important, man, to tear up this carpet like this. Man, I'm just saying all that. Like, man, these motherfuckers, they didn't respect him. Man, this fool was driving us to work one day, man. The road had flooded. He talking about he about to drive through it. It shouldn't be that bad. Me and my brother got out and got the other vehicle. Sure enough, the car stalled out, man. This fool had to get a damn tow truck. Man, like, hey, man. And this nigga used to drink like 8 Red Bulls. That motherfucker be in there with the jitters. Like, hey, man, slow this car down. Man, it was good times, though, man. Fuck them. They made my job was cool, man. I fucked with it. I loved it, man. I done been on every state, the west of the Mississippi, I done been to. Except for Alaska. I was trying to get an Alaska trip, and the reason is the per diem was $99 a day. Man, what you think Mo about to do with $99 a day? I'm about to stack it to the ceiling. Yeah, but that's good times, man. And then if y'all ever in Montana, just be careful going to Wolf Point, Montana, y'all. All right, just promise me if you ever go to Montana, be careful in Wolf Point, Montana, aka Stab Point.
Well, I don't think I have to worry about that.
Yep, Fort Peck, Indiana, man. Look, Wolf Point, Montana. That's where I worked at, and we stayed because you couldn't stay on the reservation. Where's that little town? Man, it's about an hour over here in Great Falls. Got to drive over here every day for work. Or may not been that. We may have flew in to Great Falls, but yeah. So Wolf Point, Montana, Poplar. Hey, yeah. Yep, stayed in Wolf Point, and then you go up to the reservation. This is the first time. Let me see if I can find where he lived. So the first time I ever went to a sweat lodge, you go up this highway because we were close to to Canada. And he's like, if they really wanted to, they could just cross over. No one would know. But I went to a sweat lodge out there. That was pretty interesting. the natives, Native Americans, they were always cool to me. I come on to the reservation, introduce myself. They would always come over and like ask me and my brother, "Hey, y'all want to come eat for lunch, or we got some food?" Like, all right, cool. Go eat with them. Go visit their houses on the weekend, especially when we was in Wolf Point. Man, this is my first trip. I'm 18 years old in Montana. This is the first time I ever seen cows run. I didn't know that cows could run. I always
That
thought
was my
cows
same
could graze.
reaction. That was my same reaction when I first saw elephants run.
Damn. Yeah, I seen the cows run. It was snowing outside too, and I was looking out the window like a little kid. I woke up, cattleman's cut. Man, on the side of the road, man, you just be seeing them herding, and they were on ATVs chasing them. I was like, damn, okay, that's smart. Man, but let me tell you, there was nothing in Wolf Point. Nothing, man. I had this little bitty refrigerator in the room. I didn't build it up a little bit. I didn't know there was this much stuff here. Yep. And we stayed right off of Route 2. They had a one little bank. It was like the police station here. Oh, they got a Subway now? Oh, there ain't no Subway. Al Pioneer. Yep, you just pull up right in front of here. I stayed at like the third door from the end over here, and then they have my brother close to the door over here. I ain't like being out here because it's too close to the woods, and it ain't like no fences or anything. You know what I mean? I didn't know what the hell. Yeah, that's my first ever trip right here, y'all. And we were working up there. There was no phone service either. No phone service. Man, they had us working in the back. So we was like, it was an old bank that they had, but they put all their documents in the vault. So we was working out of the vault stuff. So I used to always tell my brother, hey, man, watch that door when I go in there, man. Don't let that motherfucker close, man. But it wasn't go move it. But yeah, they had us working in the back. This is my first trip. Damn, memories. I ain't had no passport, man. I could have went to Canada.
Wow.
Right there. Damn. Yep, didn't know the cows could run, but man, thank y'all for tuning in. We got us something. We're gonna see when these dates release. I'm gonna figure out what the hell's wrong on my computer. I don't know, man. It might be that time to just, put the mic down, step away from the game. You know what I mean? Might just need to step away from the game, man. Maybe my computer is saying it's over with, Mo. You had a good run in this game, man. Let somebody else do. Like, all right, man, you might be right, bro.
No, it's not. It's not. I was going to say something about Tubi, but you messed it up.
Tubi, holla at me, man. That email's still in there. I got read notifications on, you know what I'm saying? Red notifications, whatever you want to call it. We got it on, man. Holla at me too. Holla at me too, man. Damn. Now hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. I'm Mo.J. This is Torian Rain Reloaded. What is tomorrow? Wednesday? No, today Wednesday.
Thursday.
Oh, we got
well, it's not. Well, for me, it's Thursday because it's after 12 here.
Okay, yeah, we got power tomorrow, man. Y'all know I be forgetting.
Yeah, I got you. You got. Well, shoot, I got. Listen. Oh. Wait a minute. Not only that, but for me, you have power, but I also have the Changeling, and then on Friday we got the Continental.
Oh damn! I forgot all about that. Shit, man. I leave in 2 Fridays, man. Damn. I'm gonna be behind on everything.
You're gonna have to have you have to have a going away stream.
Yeah, I gotta see what day that is. Probably because I'm leaving on Thursday. I leave Thursday morning at like 6, I think it said. 6 in the morning. I gotta leave at 6. I don't know, but I probably do
How long is that flight?
So I go KC, Dallas to Germany. I think it's like 10. That ain't bad though.
Right.
Nine and a half. Yeah. It's crazy. It's only from Seattle. It's actually closer from Seattle than it is from Dallas. Believe it or not.
I kind of figured that because it'll be yeah. Yeah, because you're like right there, so you just like it doesn't feel like that would be long a flight.
Yeah, and when you fly, like, cause last time I went from, so when you fly from Seattle, like here, you don't fly
Mhm.
across. You fly across the top of the globe. It makes the route shorter. Yeah. So you fly over Canada, you fly over this water up here, and then you start to head towards like down like that. Dallas, you got to go across the globe. This one, you going over the top. It's a shorter route. I was like, damn, I didn't even know that because Seattle to London wasn't that bad of a flight. But yeah, 9 hours, that's a cool flight for international. You know what I'm saying? I can watch a movie, get a good sleep in, get my dinner in, get a little sleep in again, wake up, and it's breakfast time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Might be further from Frankfurt, but from London, it's shorter. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, man. Some be on there, you know, got some leg room. Hopefully they got some good movies on there, man. They need to step it up. They need to step it up. Or, you know, I ain't gonna shout out my airline. Or y'all let me hook my laptop up and we'll watch Tubi movies. Everyone watches a Tubi.
They were like, what the hell is a Tubi?
Nah, they gonna know what a Tubi movie is. Hey, I'm gonna be the face for Long Crime on Tubi. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. They're gonna have to say, man, we gotta bring this guy on here. He just has too much charisma. Damn, who is he? Do you want to host the show? I'm like, man, if you want me to, I'll narrate. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. We about to get on out of here. Damn, we got a lot of stuff coming up. But remember, tomorrow's Thursday. Skate on into the weekend. If you don't take nothing from the channel, remember, you can run, but you can't hide, man. It's really that simple. You know what I mean?